Chapter 659. Luo Feng was silent, looking at the vast and boundless world outside the spaceship. His heart was filled with a kind of shock. The moment he imagined the Golden Horn Race's universe, venerable level elders destroying all obstacles in the void, forcefully creating a vast region of space. Countless undyings created continents within their god countries, the even larger number of sector lords all created continents, working together to form this vast continent. What kind of spirit was that? Elder Si Fanqi, how big is Laseo world? Luo Feng asked. It's 300,000 kilometers thick. The diameter of the continent is 1 light years. Elder Si Fanqi said proudly. This world won't disperse? Luo Feng asked softly. It wasn't as though just gathering enough continents together could form a huge continent. Just like how an incomparably huge planet could collapse and even form a black hole. Even though the laws of the universe's secret regions weren't that strong, one couldn't just build just like that. Laseo world is also a weapon. Elder Si Fanqi smiled. Actually, in the normal universe space, you should have seen a few huge continents before. Like your virtual universe company's headquarters. Luo Feng nodded. These supercontinents, especially the huge continents in the normal universe space, are all created. It's not something that the universe evolves normally. Elder Si Fanqi said. As for the universe secret regions, there are all sorts of strange things in them. Occasionally there will be huge continents. However, to create huge continents, it's very troublesome. Hence, in the universe there's a very common method to create continents using weapon manufacturing methods. This way, the continents are extremely stable and balanced, allowing them to exist forever. Elder Si Fanqi smiled. In theory, back then when the countless sector lords from the 100,000 tribes worked together, they could definitely create huge continents. However, why did they need the undyings from the 100,000 tribes to do it? Because the weapon requires it. Luo Feng was speechless. The weapon manufacturing method, to make the continents stable and balanced? The UNMO planet ship flew closer and closer to Laseo world. Confirm authority. A signal was sent to the UNMO planet ship. Luo Feng looked at the content of the signal and turned to look at Elder Si Fanqi. He smiled. No problem, I'll do it. Shwa. Elder Si Fanqi disappeared from the UNMO planet ship and appeared in the void outside. He released his undying energy and sent it into the continent of the Laseo world. Teleportation, it's really powerful, it ignores the ship's obstructions. Luo Feng exclaimed, even with the strongest defense of a ship, against teleportation, it's useless. Unless this spaceship can block spatial fluctuations, Dylan said softly. Shwa. Elder Si Fanqi appeared in the control room again. Now we can enter the world of Raso. We won't be attacked. Elder Si Fanqi smiled and said, if we had taken the flying ship from before, it would have been recorded in the security system. There would have been no need to go through so much trouble. However, the speed of that spaceship was far inferior to His Highness's. When the mission was first assigned, we took the spaceship and flew in the dark universe for nearly a year. Luo Feng laughed too. Even Hu Yanba's UNMO planet back in the day was not this fast. His UNMO planet ship was also modified by the Virtual Universe Company, hence it was so fast. This kind of technology was limited even among humans, not to mention these vassal tribes. The UNMO planet ship entered Raso world and continued to fly. Looking down from the ship, one could see large patches of grass, forests, mountain ranges, rivers, oceans, and of course most of it was a world of ice and snow. Most of the regions had very low temperatures, even the land had a thick layer of snow. As our Golden Horn tribe likes temperatures much lower than what humans are used to, hence when we built this world, we considered this point. Elder Si Fanqi stood in the control room and pointed below. Through the external simulation, it was almost like he was standing in space and looking down. That is the Hai Yin tribe, a middle-tier tribe with tens of undyings. Elder Si Fan Chi pointed at the many fortress-like houses below. Intermediate tribe? Luo Feng asked curiously. The Tawan tribe is high-level tribe. Standing behind Luo Feng, Kashna said arrogantly, Your Majesty, our Tawan tribe is a powerful high-level tribe. We're much stronger than this High Yin tribe. Our tribe even has 2 emperor-level undyings, while the High Yin tribe probably doesn't even have one. Luo Feng took a deep cold breath as he heard. He heard there were 100,000 tribes before. Just one tribe was that strong? 100,000 tribes, just how strong were they? How many tribes are there in total, and how are they divided? Luo Feng asked. 1 trillion years ago, when we moved here, there were 100,000 tribes. Elder Si Fan Chi smiled. As for now, I'm not sure. However, some tribes have fallen and scattered, while others have risen. Also, Lasea world is too big, so I'm not sure. As for the hierarchy, the tribes are divided into low-grade tribes, middle-grade tribes, high-grade tribes, and the highest elder tribes. Elder tribes? Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Are there elder tribes? Nope. Elder Si Fan Chi said. It's the top 10 tribes that have the right to be called elder tribes. Because only the top 10 have the right. Over 1 trillion years, there have always been 10 elder tribes. Moreover, each of the 10 elder tribes would have an elder from the Council of Elders stationed there. This is also the privilege of the elder tribes. Luo Feng was shocked within, Dylan too. Calculating this, elders, there were at least 10 of them. I didn't expect the strongest power within the Ganwu universe country wasn't the Ganwu country leader's side, but a hidden foreign tribe within. Luo Feng was shocked within. Haha, shocked. Elder Si Fan Chi shook his head. There's nothing to be shocked about. Your human race's true power lies within the Virtual Universe Company, Battleaxe Dojo, Universe First Bank, Universe Galaxy Bank, and Universe Mercenary Alliance, these 5 Leviathans. As for the 1008 universe countries, they are merely tools to manage and rule the normal humans. Humanity is the pinnacle of races, because they definitely have incomparably powerful strength. Luo Feng nodded. He had no doubt about this. To be able to take over the primal universe, how could it be a joke? To have so many vassal races, naturally they would be able to intimidate them. The Yun-Mo planet ship flew high in the sky, flying past mountains and ice seas. After flying for a total of 10 days, it finally descended. The Tawan tribe, they had arrived. That night, the Tawan tribe held a welcoming banquet for Luo Feng, specially preparing food that humans love. Human Your Majesty Luo Feng, let me toast you. Thank you. Luo Feng raised his cup and drank with the surrounding undyings. Looking at the large number of people around, Luo Feng was shocked within. According to their conversations, this Tawan tribe had a total of 2 emperor levels, leader and Si Fan Chi, 12 official levels, hundreds of undyings, tens of thousands of sector lords, 1 million domain lords, over 10 million universe levels. The entire Tawan tribe's population was only about 1 billion. Less than China's population. One tribe, 1 billion people, yet over 10 million universe levels. The difference between the foreign races and humans is indeed huge. Luo Feng was shocked within. Shocked at the number of warriors that appear on our side? Elder Si Fan Chi sat opposite Luo Feng, smiling. Every human friend that comes here will be shocked at this point. However you should think about it, humanity's population numbers and reproduction capabilities are shocking. And how few of us there are. The higher races only had 1 billion people. 100,000 tribes, how many people could there be? Any random human galaxy, the number of people there could easily exceed that. Just one universe country alone had over 100 million galaxies. The universe is always fair. Elder Si Fan Chi said, with a large population, the number of warriors is low. With a small population, the number of warriors is high. Like those space beasts, they are all sector lord level when they mature, and they all have some heaven-defying talents and techniques. Like the Bug Clan Queen, they are pitifully few, but all of them are powerful. And the territories you humans occupy are huge. All the geniuses and warriors you produce far exceed our race. Territories? Luo Feng was curious. Luo Feng. A loud and powerful voice resounded, a green and incomparably sturdy man, almost like he was made of steel, walked over. Leader. Luo Feng stood up. I've already written a personal letter. Later I'll let Elder Si Fanqi bring it along and head to the sacred city with you. The leader's eyes were like lightning, his voice resounding and powerful. With our clan's request, and Elder Si Fanqi personally going, the elders stationed in the sacred city should give you face, giving you the chance to study the Saint Tablet. Then I'm really thankful. Luo Feng smiled. Haha, you are a friend of our Tawan tribe, no need to thank me. The leader laughed loudly. Luo Feng smiled and raised his cup too. The entire Tawan tribe was incomparably passionate and respectful towards the humans that came to their tribe. Because normal humans didn't have the right to come here, those that were invited were either absolute geniuses or people with powerful backgrounds, or people of high positions. After staying in the Tawan tribe for 2 days, after which Luo Feng, Dylan, the 5 sector lords and Elder Si Fanqi, along with the leader's son Kashna, they all boarded the UNMO planet ship and headed towards the sacred city. The sacred city is the core of our Golden Horn race, the sacred land. Elder Si Fanqi explained, that place is where the most outstanding geniuses of the entire Golden Horn tribe are gathered. Those geniuses and experts are all fighting and competing with each other there. There are also many experts gathered there. Experts are opening sects and accepting disciples. And the Saint Tablet is at the core of the sacred city. Elder Si Fanqi said, the sects in the sacred city all belong to the great Herodo's faction. So, the UNMO planet ship flashed in the sky, swiftly heading towards the core of the Golden Horn race, the sacred city. P.S. That's the 3rd chapter. I have to write 6 more today. Continue working hard. Chapter 660. After leaving the Pagoda sector, they flew at close to light speed, and with the UNMO planet ship's advanced level, they easily recorded everything that happened on the ground and displayed it on the screen, letting Luo Feng, Dylan and the others watch, allowing them to get a deeper understanding of the culture of this foreign race. On the 18th day of their journey, they were about to reach the sacred city. Along the way, we've frequently seen battles and killings below. What's going on? Luo Feng came out of the resting cabin and watched a few videos, asking Elder Si Fanqi curiously. Our Golden Horn race has a rule: as long as one reaches the universe level, one has to leave the tribe and roam the world. They have to roam for 1,000 years, or reach the domain lord level before they can return. Elder Si Fanqi said, and while roaming the world, battles and killings are very normal. It's not forbidden? Luo Feng asked. The race's population wasn't that high to begin with. Why not? The strong have to be trained through battles. Elder Si Fanqi said indifferently, what's more, only undyings can be considered the foundation of the race. Otherwise, with such short lifespans and the inability to become strong, it's useless to the survival of the entire race. Your Majesty, look, right ahead is the sacred city. Elder Si Fanqi said. The UNMO planet ship too slowed down. Luo Feng gazed below. An incomparably majestic ancient city stood in the endless wilderness. This city's diameter was about 100,000 kilometers. The most eye-catching thing in the city was that 10,000 kilometers tall pure gold statue. Even from the ship, Luo Feng could see it clearly. The ship descended. The cabin door opened. Luo Feng, Dylan, the 5 sector lords, Kashna and Elder Si Fanqi all alighted from the ship, after which Luo Feng kept the ship. Do you see that statue? Si Fanqi pointed at the tallest and most eye-catching pure gold statue in the sacred city. That's Herodo. The great Herodo. Every moment, there are countless warriors rushing over from all over Lasheo world. The entire statue is 12,319 kilometers tall, just its feet alone are 1,622 kilometers. Luo Feng nodded, feeling excited within. An existence that an entire race worshipped for countless years. Let's go, let's enter the city. Elder Si Fan Chi smiled. Your Majesty needs to remember one thing. Because of the sacred city's special status and the countless geniuses of our Golden Horn tribe gathered here, this is the future of our tribe. So, killing is forbidden in the holy city. If you want to fight, you must go to the huge arena outside the holy city. Luo Feng and his group entered the bustling ancient city. There were many residents in the sacred city. Hiroto. Luo Feng stood in the plaza, raising his head to look at the huge pure gold statue. It had a pair of eyes that seemed to contain the infinite universe. There was no sharpness, no ferocity, only a sense of calmness. No matter how restless he was, as long as he looked at the statue, all his worries would disappear. Even though I haven't seen Hiro before, just looking at this statue, it's no wonder he's able to lead an entire race in the vast universe. Luo Feng exclaimed within. Just as Luo Feng was reminiscing about this great pioneer of the Golden Horn race, many members of the Golden Horn race in the plaza were curious and shocked as they looked at Luo Feng and his group. Look, it's a human. It's a human. I can even smell the blood and flesh energy of a flesh and blood life form, and they don't have any life imprints. The commotion was getting bigger and bigger. More and more Golden Horn race members noticed Luo Feng and his group. It was still very rare to see humans in Lasheo world. However, in the sacred city of Lasheo world, one could occasionally see some invited humans. But the humans that came, they were all not normal people. Luo Feng noticed that he was being watched. Let's go. Luo Feng ordered. Yes, Your Majesty. The group complied. Suddenly, human, your domain Lord level 9 strength actually came to our sacred city. You must be an absolute genius of the human race. Kaneo and Lei want to challenge you. A youth with dark red skin and a dark golden long rod on his back. His entire body almost like a metal sculpture stared at Luo Feng and roared. Challenge. Luo Feng looked at this youth. This youth too had domain Lord level 9 strength. Your Majesty doesn't have to bother. Elder Si Fan Chi, who was standing beside Luo Feng, said, because there have indeed been many humans that have come to the sacred city before, and amongst them are absolute geniuses. There have also been human geniuses that have battled with our Golden Horn race geniuses before. And some of them have even become legends, hence many of the younger generation have come to challenge the human geniuses the moment they see them. However, as long as Your Majesty doesn't bother, they won't dare bother you. Elder Si Fan Chi finished and a formless, undying ripple spread out. This caused the surrounding group of Golden Horn race members to dodge in fear. Humph! Elder Si Fan Chi snorted coldly. No one else dared to stop them. Elder Si Fan Chi smiled. Let's go, we'll head to the Chief Elder Palace to pay our respects to the elders. Immediately, Luo Feng and his group left under the watchful eyes of countless Golden Horn race members. Humans! There are humans that have come to the sacred city, and the leader is a domain lord level 9. It must be a human genius. Absolute human geniuses have come to the sacred city. The news spread like a whirlwind throughout the entire sacred city. Countless geniuses from the 100,000 tribes of the Golden Horn race had gathered in the sacred city. These geniuses all had the conviction to fight when they found out that the absolute human geniuses had actually come to the sacred city. A sense of pride and honor made the countless geniuses excited. All of them wanted to challenge the human geniuses. Luo Feng and his group had already arrived outside the Chief Elder Palace. Luo Feng stared wide-eyed into the distance. How can this be impossible? Arriving at the home of the Golden Horn race, Laseo world, this was the first time Luo Feng was so shocked. Your Majesty? Elder Si Fanqi and Kashna were both shocked. They were all shocked that the usually calm Luo Feng would lose his composure like this. In the distance, on the continuous mountain range, there was a majestic god palace. The palace was completely dark gold in color. It was about 1,000 kilometers tall and took up an area of close to 10,000 kilometers. Such a palace, with Luo Feng's experience, he had seen many palaces much more luxurious than this one. Naturally, he wasn't shocked. However, at the entrance of this palace, there was a black star chain that was close to 1 kilometer thick. This black star chain was 1 kilometer thick and nearly 10,000 kilometers long. The chain directly penetrated the flesh and bones of a cyan giant beast that was about 620 kilometers tall and looked a bit like a gorilla. The giant beast squatted there like a towering mountain, not much shorter than the divine palace. Star. Luo Feng stared wide-eyed. His heart was trembling. Space beast. The first time, ever since he took over the golden-horned beast, even though his experience was vast and his training wasn't ordinary, he had never seen a second space beast. He hadn't even seen a specimen before, much less a live one. This was Luo Feng's first time seeing another space beast. However, the giant star beast was completely bound by the black star chains that had penetrated into its flesh and bones. Ha ha! Elder Si Fanqi laughed. Your Majesty must be shocked at this space beast. Haha, this space beast is one of the 12 pinnacle bloodlines of the space beasts, the Destruction Beast, Sector Lord Pinnacle. Even though it's only Sector Lord Pinnacle, its true battle strength, even normal undyings aren't its match. It's terrifying. Luo Feng stared at the space beast that was bound like a pet. He could feel the sadness and sorrow it emitted. How long has it been? Luo Feng asked. What long? Elder Si Fanqi was stunned. This space beast, how long has it been captured? Luo Feng said solemnly. About 20 million years. Elder Si Fanqi exclaimed. The lifespan of the space beasts is indeed long. Our Golden Horn clan and human sector lords have a lifespan of 1,000 eras. And this space beast's lifespan is 10 times that. Why is it tied up? Luo Feng said solemnly. Elder Si Fanqi realized that Luo Feng's tone wasn't right. This space beast was captured by the elders back then. However, it refused to submit. What position and status does the elders have? A Sector Lord Pinnacle space beast is useless to him. It's only because it's too rare that he captured it. Right, the elder is a universe knight. Of course he wouldn't care about a space beast. Luo Feng said solemnly. However, this space beast is extremely stubborn. It refused to submit no matter what. Back then, it madly struggled and howled. I've often heard its howls, along with the blood that flowed out of its body, its hair torn, etc. Elder Si Fanqi exclaimed. However, the surrounding land has long been modified by the elders. It can't destroy it at all. And those chains directly bound its life core and body. No matter how it struggled, it was useless. After a long time, it gave up. However, it refused to lower its head. The elders said back then, when it lowered its head, it would release the chains. Luo Feng's heart trembled as he heard this. Space beasts were very proud. Even the golden-horned infant that he had possessed back then was incomparably proud. High and mighty, killing humans was like hunting livestock. Maybe they were savage, maybe they were ruthless. However, this was their nature. They were born that way. It was simply too difficult to make them submit. Your Majesty, is this the first time you've seen a space beast? Elder Si Fanqi asked. This destruction beast's abilities are extraordinary. A Sector Lord Pinnacle can defeat a normal undying. Shall I introduce it to you? Luo Feng didn't speak. He knew much more than this Si Fanqi. Destruction Beast, one of the 12 pinnacle bloodlines of the space beast. It was on par with the golden-horned beast. However, it wasn't a devouring-type beast. It was a thunder and time-type beast. It was naturally cunning and savage. He only had one innate secret art: time freeze. Even though it only had one natural ability, its power was unimaginable. Relying on its cunning and savage nature and the natural ability, the destruction beast's battle strength was shocking. Its ability to escape was extremely strong too. It was completely on par with the golden horned beast and flame star beast. Chapter 661. Luo Feng looked at the distant mountain-like beast squatting there. In his mind flashed the scene of the 10 billion humans and 300,000 universe warriors being instantly annihilated on the capital planet. Fate, this is fate. The weak are destined to be enslaved. No matter how proud they are, it's useless. Strong. Only by becoming strong can one control one's destiny. Luo Feng stared hard at the beast, trying to remember this image. If one day he appeared as the golden horned beast and was captured by some absolute being, he would probably be treated like a pet. I definitely won't allow it, Luo Feng thought. Your Majesty, you stay here first. I'll bring the head's personal letter to the elders and report this in detail. If the Grand Elders agree, Your Highness will be able to enter the sacred ground to study the sacred monument. Elder Si Fanqi smiled. Luo Feng took a deep breath, maintaining his smile. Elder Si Fanqi, I'll be troubling you. Ha. Elder Si Fanqi smiled and turned to look at Kashna. Kashna, follow beside His Majesty, don't run around. Yes, teacher, Kashna said, but his eyes were glued to the towering destroyer behemoth. Elder Si Fanqi shook his head slightly. He turned into a golden light and flew towards the Grand Elder Celestial Palace. He arrived at the entrance of the Grand Elder Celestial Palace. After standing outside for a moment, he entered the palace. Luo Feng and his group were at the foot of the mountain. You're very interested in the beast? Luo Feng looked at Kashna. Kashna nodded and laughed. The beast is able to defeat a normal undying with Sector Lord Pinnacle strength. It's very powerful. This is also the only space beast in our entire Lasheo world. If we don't observe it more, when it dies of old age, we won't be able to see it anymore. Then let's get closer, Luo Feng said. Ah! Kashna was stunned. Luo Feng brought Dylan and the others and headed straight towards the direction of the beast. After a while, Luo Feng stood on a piece of empty land. Ahead were a few guards surrounding the area where the beast was. Human, please don't go any further. Otherwise, you will be attacked by this trapping array. A man dressed in his signature dark golden armor said. As Luo Feng was a human, the guard's attitude was very friendly. Trapping secret array? Luo Feng looked over. Nearly 1,000 kilometers around the destruction behemoth, there were strange runes that were almost circular. The complicated runes were completely engraved on the edges, as if they were drawing a prison. What a complicated space engraving! Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. This destructive behemoth was 620 kilometers tall even when it was squatting. It was like a normal human being trapped in a cage with a diameter of 2 to 3 meters. Of course, it was very sullen. However, because of the black astral chains and the ceiling formation, he was unable to escape. Blood and hair. Luo Feng looked at the dried-up black blood stains and some broken hairs within the formation. This was obviously the blood stains and hair from the beast's struggle. Hair, blood stains? Luo Feng thought. This destruction beast is at the pinnacle of Sector Lord. Then, if I get its hair, when I reach the pinnacle of Sector Lord, wouldn't I be able to nurture a destruction beast? Many thoughts flashed through Luo Feng's mind. He was thinking about the feasibility of this and whether it was worth it, as he only had one internal world, and the natural talent cloning was nurtured through the internal world. Then, it was destined that he would at most have 3 bodies, even if he created another golden horned beast, because he didn't have another internal world. He wouldn't have 3 more bodies. Actually, it was easy to understand. If he had one more golden horned beast, he would have 3 more bodies. That way, as the cycle continued, he would have countless bodies. Hence, it was impossible for this to become a reality. The destruction behemoth only had one secret technique: natural talent, time stop. This technique was similar to the golden horned beast's natural talent, strengthening. Both were natural talents that could be unleashed through the activation of the engravings on its body. As it had nothing to do with the internal world, hence, the moment he created a destruction beast, he would still be able to unleash this heaven-defying natural talent, time stop. Very heaven-defying. Time stop is definitely a terrifying technique. Whether it's used for attacking or escaping, it's very good. Luo Feng was itching to use it. If he were to suddenly unleash this technique during battle, and take the chance to kill his opponent, what kind of heaven-defying technique would that be? Of course, it wasn't invincible. Just like a universe-level destruction beast unleashing time stop, it couldn't stop a sector lord's time flow. This wasn't an invincible technique, it was just a very strong one. It was even stronger than Luo Feng's natural talent strengthening. My current strength isn't enough, and I haven't experienced enough. Maybe in the future I'll have a better choice. Luo Feng looked at the mountain-like beast within the trap. However, if I can get its hair, I'll at least use it as a backup. After accumulating a few choices, I'll choose the most suitable one. However, I have no way of entering. Luo Feng frowned within. Right now he was only a domain lord level 9. He definitely wouldn't make a rash decision. If he chose the destruction beast early on, when he obtained some heaven-defying life form's genes and was able to nurture it, wouldn't he regret it to death? Back then in Blood River World, when he saw the beast god, Luo Feng was clear on one thing. There were still some special life forms in the universe, and in his inherited memories, there were some special life forms too. These life forms were extremely few in number. Some were the only ones since the birth of the universe. They couldn't even be considered a race. However, there were some powerful life forms like the beast god, whose strength far surpassed sector lord level. And there was a limit to nurturing a clone. It couldn't exceed the main body. Meaning the clone he could nurture would at most be sector lord pinnacle. There was a limit, but it was extremely small. There was only one slot left. The moment he wasted it, there would be no more chances. Wait! When I reach sector lord pinnacle, or when I discover something that will surprise me beyond anything else, I won't regret it. Luo Feng thought. HM? Luo Feng suddenly felt a clamor behind him. He couldn't help but turn to look, only to see the mountain path behind him had a bustling crowd of a few hundred golden horn youths walking over. This group of golden horn youths, with Luo Feng's sensory abilities, with a glance, he could tell that most of them were domain lord level 9. The human geniuses are over there. They're standing over there. Domain lord level 9 geniuses. 90 million years ago, Si Tong defeated the visiting human geniuses. The group of golden horn youths were completely engulfed in the glory of the race. All of them had a thirst, the thirst to defeat the human geniuses. In history, the human geniuses that came over were all intrepid. In the clashes between the golden horn and human geniuses, the humans almost always won. However, there were still a few times where the golden horn race won. Whenever they won, it would be talked about for a very long time. As the golden horn race was the human race's vassal race, and had been for countless years, hence when the golden horn race faced the humans, they naturally felt inferior. This inferiority made it so that whenever a genius appeared in their race that could defeat the absolute geniuses of the human race, they would feel extremely proud. The race's honor. In front of this honor, they were no longer afraid of death. As long as they could succeed, then they would truly become famous, and their fame would be even greater than becoming an undying human genius. I challenge you. If you're brave, accept my challenge. Human, I Bukong Duo, issue you an official challenge. The group of golden horn youths fought to be the first to issue the challenge. Even these youths were filled with a thick smell of gunpowder. The youths from different tribes, some had green skin, some red, some white, some purple, but they all had the same golden mark on their forehead. Battle spirit. Thirst. The hundreds of youths looked at Luo Feng, their eyes filled with a deep thirst, thirsting to battle him. To be able to compete with the absolute geniuses of the human race was something that could only be found by luck. Firstly, the human geniuses that came here were already very rare, and there were many sector lord geniuses. Meeting a domain lord level 9 genius was very rare. Even if they did come, some of the human geniuses felt that they weren't strong enough and wouldn't accept the challenge. To challenge, to obtain the honor. The battle had to be fair. Their feelings of inferiority made the Golden Horn clan members even more demanding for fairness. If the human geniuses were Domain Lord level 9, then the challengers would definitely be Domain Lord level 9. They would rather have Domain Lord level 7 or 8 than to allow Sector Lord level 1 challengers to appear. This was a humiliation to them. Your Majesty. Dylan smiled at Luo Feng. So many challengers. Luo Feng shook his head, smiling helplessly. This situation was indeed unexpected. Please accept my challenge. Human geniuses, please accept my challenge. This group of geniuses could all speak standard human universe language. After all, once they realized this, they only needed a few moments to learn the universe language. Luo Feng and his group were surrounded by the Golden Horn clan youths. And as time passed, more and more youths rushed over. A portion of them were here to challenge, while others were purely here to spectate. Very quickly, the number reached a few thousand. What are you all doing? Why are you all gathered under my ancestors' god palace? A thick and violent roar resounded. Luo Feng turned to look. The thousands of Golden Horn clan youths too turned to look. In the distance, on the broad passage of the lofty dark golden palace, a black-skinned young man, who was more than 3 meters tall, carrying a dark golden long staff on his back and wearing cyan armor, rushed over with a large group of palace guards. At the same time, he shouted, "This is a restricted area of the palace. How dare you quarrel here? Beat them all out." Yes. The group of Sector Lord Pinnacle Level God Palace Guards replied in unison. "Leader, over there, those are humans." Suddenly, a God Palace Guard said softly beside the black-skinned intrepid youth. P.S. Chapter 5, Chapter 6. Chapter 662. Humans. The black-skinned youth's gaze immediately landed on Luo Feng and the others, quickly determining that they were indeed humans. "You are the leader?" The black-skinned youth looked shocked at Luo Feng. From where Luo Feng and the others were standing, it was obvious that Luo Feng was at the front, Dylan the Undying was at the side, the other 5 sector lords and Kashno were at the back. "How do you do?" Luo Feng smiled and looked at him. "Ha ha!" The intrepid youth that was filled with killing intent revealed a smile, gazing at the large group of youths. "I finally understand, no wonder you all have gathered here. Oh Jai, you've rushed over too. Haha, looks like all of you want to challenge the human geniuses." This skin glowed black, almost like a steel-forged intrepid youth stared at Luo Feng. "Human, I, a lowly member of the Elder God Palace, officially challenge you. This underling is disgusting. This underling has received the teachings of the Elder God Palace. His strength is indeed very strong." The thousands of Golden Horn clan members discussed. Underling? Luo Feng looked at the black-skinned youth. With one look he could tell that this youth was indeed Domain Lord level 9. "Please accept my challenge." The black-skinned youth's gaze was like lightning, almost like he wanted to devour someone, staring hard at Luo Feng. Luo Feng shook his head and smiled, about to reject, however, as he gazed at the distant thousands of Golden Horn youths, he suddenly thought, "Elder God Palace? It seems that my identity as a human has made many geniuses of the Golden Horn clan want to challenge me. Instead of continuously challenging me, I might as well accept one battle and show my strength." At least, some geniuses with weaker strength will not provoke me. Please accept my challenge. The intrepid youth roared again. I can accept, however, you have to agree to one condition. Luo Feng looked at him. The intrepid youth was stunned, after which he revealed a look of ecstasy, staring at Luo Feng. What condition? Speak. I heard those divine palace guards call you commander. You have some status in the prime elder divine palace, Yi Futian said. Luo Feng pointed at the distant destruction beast that wasn't much shorter than the god palace. I've never seen a space beast before, hence I want to take a closer look and interact with it. I wonder if that's possible? Close range? The youth frowned. Going in to take a look is a small matter, but that beast has the strength of a normal undying. If you go in, you're safety. If the human peerless genius died in the Golden Horn Tribe's world, the consequences would be dire. Relax. Luo Feng looked at Dylan beside him. Dylan nodded. After all, Dylan could be considered a deity who was close to becoming a marquis. He was extremely powerful. Since you can guarantee your safety, watching the destruction behemoth up close is a small matter. I can make the decision. The young man got off the bed and glanced at the guards inside the trapping array. Let these humans go in and have a look. Let them enter through the safe passage. Yes, Commander. The group of guards obeyed. Looking at the destructive behemoth up close was indeed a small matter, but what was the point of just looking? Within the Golden Horn tribe, some of the more influential figures would often observe the destruction behemoth up close. After all, it was the only colossus of astral behemoth in the entire world of Lazio. Crack! The metal door opened. This is the only way to enter without triggering the trapping array. The youth bowed and said. Luo Feng, however, smiled as he brought Dylan and the others along the pathway into the 1,000 kilometers area. That area was where the destruction beast usually lived. Walking in the wilderness, one could smell the destruction behemoth's body. It had a special stench to it. On the ground, one could still see some black dried blood stains, along with some fallen messy hair. Luo Feng, the blood stains have been dried for too long. They probably can't be used to extract the life energy from the body anymore. However, the hair that hasn't completely rotted can definitely be used. Babata's voice resounded in his mind. Luo Feng squatted down and gently stroked a strand of hair. Even though it was called a hair, it was actually thicker than a tree. One strand of hair was at least a few meters thick, and its length was shockingly a few km long. Hence from afar, it looked very slender and soft, like the hair of an orangutan. However, compared to the destruction behemoth that stood over 1,000 kilometers tall, it was very normal. With a glance, the messy hairs in the wilderness were all tangled together. In just one spot there were at least a few hundred strands of hair. The entire wilderness had many strands of hair that had fallen off. Lowly, I'll take a strand of hair as a souvenir, is that all right? Luo Feng turned to look. The youth outside the trapping array couldn't help but be suspicious. He wanted a strand of hair as a souvenir? This thing was pure trash. Only a few of his clansmen had come close to it and left 1 or 2 strands of hair as souvenirs. In truth, it was really useless. Human, if you want a strand of hair from the destruction behemoth, of course you can. The lowly said loudly. Thank you. Luo Feng nodded, after which he kept the hair into his space ring. Done with this hair. I can use the golden horned beast's natural ability to nurture an embryo and give birth to a destruction beast. Luo Feng thought, following which he walked towards the destruction beast. He looked up and walked closer. Looking at the bound destructive behemoth squatting there, a star behemoth that should have been able to roam the universe freely was tied up like a cat or a dog. This was a kind of sorrow. And with Luo Feng's special identity, seeing the destruction beast in such a state made him feel sad. Howl, a low roar reverberated within the mountains. The destruction beast squatting there opened its huge eyes. It was a pair of green gold eyes, gazing down at Luo Feng. Luo Feng too looked up at it, Dylan, however, stood cautiously by the side. Human. The destruction beast let out a low voice. How do you do? Luo Feng nodded. One man and one space beast, one looked up and one looked down. In their eyes, they all faintly felt the same thing. The same cold temperament. Similarly, he suppressed and restrained his murderous intent. Because Luo Feng was a human, he was able to suppress the golden-horned beast's killing intent, and because the destruction beast was tied up, it too suppressed that killing intent. Human. The destruction beast's voice resounded in Luo Feng's mind. The feeling you give me is very close. You and I have a few similarities. Similarities? Luo Feng sighed within. Right. Similar, because to a certain extent, he was also a giant star beast. If he had the ability, he would definitely save this destructive behemoth. However, he was only a human genius. The golden-horned elder was a night-level being. Even if the race was a subordinate human, the night-level being wasn't something he could easily mess with. Is there anything I can help you with? Luo Feng asked. No need. The destruction beast's green-gold eyes gazed down at Luo Feng, communicating mentally, You can't help me, and the elder beside me gave me a promise when he bound me for 3 million years. As long as I break through to undying, he'll let me go. What? Luo Feng was shocked. There was actually such a promise? After being bound for 3 million years and giving such a promise, the elder probably admired the space beast's stubbornness. However, deep down, the high and mighty elder definitely wouldn't let it go so easily. Hence he gave it the requirement of reaching the undying level. Reaching the undying level, is it very hard? Luo Feng asked. It's thousands to tens of thousands of times harder than you humans. The destruction beast said, I can already defeat normal undyings, however I still can't break through the last barrier. I've already endured for 20 million years, breaking through to undying. I can definitely do it, definitely. Human. It's rare to see a life form that I feel close to. I've said enough, you can go. The destruction beast once again closed its eyes. Luo Feng sighed. Right. He couldn't help it. He even had to request to study the tablet and see if the elder would agree. He didn't even have the right to request it. Your Majesty Luo Feng, why are you inside? Luo Feng turned to look. Outside the formation was the golden-armored old man Elder Si Fanqi. Luo Feng brought Dylan and the others along the pathway and swiftly left. I went to take a closer look at the destruction beast. Luo Feng looked at Si Fanqi. Elder, how was it? Si Fanqi laughed loudly. The elder and I chatted for a while and nodded in agreement for your majesty to study the tablet. He even gave you special permission to study it alone for a month. Furthermore, your highness can choose any secret technique stored in the Holy Land after you've finished studying the Saint Tablet. Study alone for a month, one technique? Luo Feng was shocked. Yes, after all, the Holy Steel only allows people to comprehend, without any systematic secret technique. The secret techniques stored in the Holy Land are all systematic secret techniques left behind by the great experts of our Golden Horn tribe. They are all secret techniques that combine space and metal, belonging to Hiroto's lineage. Elder Si Fanqi said with a smile, Your Highness, you can choose one. Of course, you can only choose one. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed and nodded. So you're called Luo Feng? You can't possibly want to drag this battle to after you comprehend the Sage Tablet, right? Standing not too far away was a black-skinned youth dressed in azure armor. His voice was ferocious as he said, Let's go to the arena and fight. Luo Feng looked at him. Your Majesty Luo Feng, you want to compete with him? Elder Si Fanqi was shocked, communicating, Your Majesty, don't agree. You've just reached the 9th level of the Domain Lord Realm, not long ago. But this lowly one is one of the 2 geniuses of the Bei brothers nurtured by the Elder of the Divine Palace. His comprehension of laws should be at the 9th level of the Heavenly Bridge, according to your human classifications. Luo Feng was stunned. Comprehending the laws to the 9th level of the sky-crossing bridge? F***CK. The peak geniuses of the Golden Horn tribe were also very terrifying. 6 chapters completed. Waha, I started preparing at 8 in the morning and took a short break in the afternoon. I kept writing and finally finished before midnight. Brothers, I want a monthly ticket, Waha. Chapter 663. Your Majesty Luo Feng. Si Fan Chi communicated anxiously. Our Golden Horn race's absolute geniuses are generally much weaker than the human geniuses. However, the Golden Horn race has over 100,000 tribes. The number of domain lords we have far exceeds that of a universe country. Also, the absolute geniuses of the race will receive guidance from the elders. Naturally, their standards won't be low. Luo Feng nodded within. Yes. As they were constantly feeling threatened, the Golden Horn race's nurturing of geniuses was even more important than the humans. Even the elders of the universe night level came to teach them. The top 10 of this generation's domain lord level geniuses are the Bei brothers. Si Fan Chi communicated, within the top 10, the other 9 are roughly at the 9th level of origin law comprehension. And the strongest Bei brother's older brother Bei Chiu is the only one with the 10th level. Look, the thousands of youths that challenged you before, they were all quite strong. Like that Jia AI, he's one of the top 10 domain lord level geniuses. Luo Feng blinked, looking at the group of Golden Horn race youths that had gathered. He couldn't help but feel ashamed. He originally didn't put them in his eyes, however he forgot. This was a race's genius. Even if they were weaker than the humans, they wouldn't be too ridiculously weak. The top 10 human domain lord level geniuses were also primal region members. 9 of them had passed the 10th level, and 1 had passed the 11th. The 10th level and the 9th level have a fundamental difference. Every 3 levels represent a major level, 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9. There are many geniuses in the domain lord level absolute beginning secret realm who are stuck on the 9th level. It is extremely difficult to enter the 10th level. Luo Feng was shocked within. I didn't expect the Golden Horn race's domain lord level to actually have one that stepped into the 10th level. Looks like he has the strength of a human primal region member. That one called Bei Chiu. He was the only one that could match up to a human domain lord level primal region member. Luckily I wasn't fighting Bei Chiu, only the top 10. Luo Feng sighed within. With my current strength against Bei Chiu, I have no chance of winning. Even against Bei Chiu, it's still very dangerous. Hearing that he had the strength to pass the 9th level of the heavenly bridge, Luo Feng understood that he was in big trouble. Human genius Luo Feng, don't tell me you're scared? The black-skinned, intrepid youth growled. His eyes were like lights as he stared at Luo Feng. Haha, since I've promised you, naturally I'll fight. You choose the time and place, said Luo Feng. Alright. The lower bed was overjoyed and shouted, then let's set off immediately. The time of the battle is today, and the location is the arena outside the city. Sure. Luo Feng nodded. With this simple conversation, a battle between the geniuses of the human race and the Golden Horn tribe was decided. This simple conversation immediately attracted the attention of thousands of people who had gathered nearby. Even the guards of the Divine Palace cheered excitedly. For a moment, cheers and howls resounded through the mountains. Lowly bed! Lowly bed! Lowly bed! All of a sudden, all the geniuses of the Golden Horn clan were excited. Almost all of them shouted the name of their humble servant. Yes. As one of the top 10 domain lords, he was indeed qualified to fight against human geniuses on behalf of the Golden Horn clan. Everyone relaxed. The lower bed youth turned to look at the thousands of clansmen. He immediately shouted loudly, I, lowly bed, will definitely obtain victory for our Golden Horn clan, definitely! Victory! 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 The thousands of youths roared excitedly. Luo Feng watched silently, thinking within, Victory, yes, this battle. I have no way out, I have to win. This battle didn't just represent himself, it represented humanity's glory. The moment he lost, then the Golden Horn clan would spread the name of this lower bed for countless years. They would always remember that there was a lower bed genius who defeated a human genius called Luofeng. The more the Golden Horn clan valued this, the more they would lose face. There was only one way to defeat the lower bed. Victory! Human Luofeng. The youth lowly bed was in high spirits. He was unprecedentedly excited. The arena is outside the city. Let's head out. Then let's go. Luofeng nodded. So. Luofeng's group, along with Lowly Bed and a few other Golden Horn clan geniuses, all flew towards the arena. Simultaneously, many of the geniuses immediately connected to the virtual universe network and swiftly spread the news to their friends, telling them, the human genius and our clan's lower bed genius will soon begin their battle in the arena. The Golden Horn clan was a vassal of humanity. Hence, they too had the right to use the virtual universe network. However, they were restricted within a space. Most of them could only chat within the clan. Many of their privileges were restricted, like they couldn't use the killing fields, etc. However, the most basic communication functions were still possible. The news was like lightning, swiftly spreading throughout the sacred city. The human genius Luofeng and our clan's lower bed are about to battle. In the arena outside the city. It's about to begin. Right, the human genius. You didn't hear wrongly. It's a human. The news spread like wildfire. The sacred city residents who were originally busy with their own matters all put down what they were doing. With incomparable fervor, they swiftly flew out of the city. If one were to look from above, one would realize that the entire sacred city was like a flood. Almost like a tidal wave, they were all rushing in one direction, the arena outside the city. A strong sense of pride for the clan. The unwillingness to be a vassal of humanity for countless years. Facing the humans' natural inferiority. This caused this group of residents who lived in the core of the sacred city of Lasheo world, who were normally the proudest, to sink into a frenzy. They yearned for victory. They yearned for their clan's geniuses to defeat the human geniuses. The arena outside the sacred city took up a huge amount of space. Within the sacred city, it had a special status. Actually, before the Golden Horn clan migrated, they didn't have a tradition of having an arena. It was only after the clan leader Hiroto disappeared that the Golden Horn clan felt an incomparably strong sense of danger. Hence, they had various measures. For example, forbidding the geniuses from killing each other. However, they were afraid that the geniuses would lose their fighting spirit. Hence, they created the arena. The sacred city forbids battles. Only in the arena could one battle take place. The construction of the arena was similar to the humans' battle-axe Colosseum. Master, our arena has a total of 100 million spectator seats. Usually, for all sorts of battles, this number of seats is more than enough. However, today, Master, we may not have enough seats. A gray-skinned youth pointed into the distance. Another tall golden-skinned man looked up too. In the distant sky, a black mass, in the hundreds of millions of Golden Horn clansmen, were flying over. The sacred city, as the sacred land core of the Golden Horn clan, had a population in the billions. To be able to become a resident here, many of them were trainers. Usually there were very few battles that attracted them. However, today, over half of the entire sacred city had swiftly rushed over. Half? It was definitely over 1 billion. There aren't enough seats. The golden-skinned man roared, "Send the order, swiftly remove all the seats and proceed according to the clan's rules." Yes. The gray-skinned youth replied. The huge arena outside the sacred city was undergoing lightning-fast changes. The original decorations, comfortable seats, etc. were all removed. Even some of the comfortable private rooms and luxurious viewing platforms were all removed. The entire arena was built to accommodate as many spectators as possible. So many people. Luo Feng sat in his resting room, looking through the window at the black mass of people flying over. This situation had already lasted for over 10 minutes. They're probably all here to spectate. Dylan looked up too. It's really shocking. Even in our human world, we can't create such a huge area for people to gather and spectate. A few large-scale battles are usually carried out in the virtual universe network, that way it's easier and less chaotic. The virtual universe network and reality are still different. Luo Feng shook his head. Your Majesty. Dylan looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng turned to look. Do you have any confidence? Dylan looked at Luo Feng. I don't, however, this battle, I can only win. Luo Feng's eyes were sharp. About 3 hours had passed. Your Majesty Luo Feng, you can enter the arena now. Elder Si Fanqi walked in from outside. Luo Feng immediately stood up. Be careful. Elder Si Fanqi said, in a battle in the arena, if one isn't careful, one side will fall. Luo Feng nodded. He naturally understood this point. This was a battle in reality, not in the virtual universe network. This sort of life and death battle, especially one that concerned the honor and glory of the two races, there was no room for mercy at all, everyone was giving it their all, and the battle was as fast as lightning. The moment one was hit, it could result in death. Luo Feng walked out of the resting room, under Dylan's guidance and the guidance of the dojo staff. He walked along a corridor and finally arrived at the vast arena. Rumble, the cheers and the terrifying energy waves, it was as though the entire arena was about to be torn apart. Luo Feng looked around, all he could see was a blur of silhouettes outside the arena, and the tilted second-level viewing platform, as well as the highest viewing platform, they were all filled with silhouettes. There were even more people standing in mid-air in the distance. Lowly bed wins. If you lose, just kill yourself. You have to win. You have to win. Victory. Victory. All sorts of sounds caused the surrounding space to boil. Over 1 billion Golden Horn clansmen roared, causing Luo Feng to hold his breath. Luo Feng looked opposite. On the arena stood the green-armored, black-skinned, intrepid youth Lowly Bed. At this time the golden mark on his forehead was revolving with threads of blood. He had already sunk into an incomparably crazy state, the intense honor of his race, the past battles with the human geniuses, over 1 billion clansmen watching and roaring, it had completely caused Lowly Bed to enter a state of madness. He had to win. Even if he died, he had to win. Chapter 664. Within the pathway leading to the arena stood the undying guard Dylan and Elder Si Fanqi. When the battle begins, Elder Si Fanqi. Dylan looked at Elder Si Fanqi beside him. No matter what, you and I have to guarantee that His Majesty's life won't be in danger. I understand. Elder Si Fanqi said solemnly. I will be careful and on guard. The moment the victor is determined, I will immediately stop the battle and guarantee His Majesty's safety. Dylan's expression was serious, turning to look at the calm Luo Feng in the arena. The ancestor told me to protect you. There's no room for error, definitely. Dylan said. In this battle, just from the blur of silhouettes in the 3 levels of the Colosseum, along with the silhouettes in the distant sky, there were over 1 billion Golden Horn clansmen here. Just the Undyings alone, there were over 1,000, there were even a few Emperor-level Undyings. No matter what, at the last moment, we have to guarantee the lives of me and that human genius. We can't become enemies with the humans because of this. Everyone, do your best. The Undyings all did the same. However, none of the Undyings present dared say they had 100% confidence. Because Luo Feng and me were both spirit readers, the final deciding factor of the battle would naturally be the spirit weapon piercing through the body. Only when the body was pierced through would the victor be decided, and at that time, they could very well lose their lives. Of course, Luo Feng was only a genius amongst the humans. If he were to die in such a public battle, even though the humans would be unhappy, Compared to the relationship between the two races, a little genius was like an ant, it wouldn't affect the relationship between the two races. Silence. A voice resounded throughout the land and skies. Over 1 billion clansmen very quickly lowered their voices until they were completely silent. However, they were all filled with passion, staring at the arena within the arena. This battle. On one side is our Golden Horn clan's genius me, on the other is the human genius Luo Feng. A majestic voice resounded throughout the land and skies. The rules are simple, once one side admits defeat or is defeated, it will end. Right now the battle, my race's me against the human Luo Feng, begin. The voice resounded. Over 1 billion Golden Horn clansmen stared at the arena, all of them holding their breaths. And on the platform, the silver-armored Luo Feng and the green-armored youth laid on the bed, facing each other. Golden Horn clan, humble bed. The young humble bed shouted loudly. Human, Luo Feng. Luo Feng looked at the opponent. Who? Luo Feng and Bibu were about 10 kilometers apart. They simultaneously rose into the air, and floated in mid-air. A dark golden long rod appeared on their backs, and a flying spirit weapon beneath their feet. You also use the Nanshin armament? The lowly bed grinned and stared at Luo Feng. My Golden Horn clan's great Shilo duo is the true creator of the Nanshin armament. Then we'll see who uses it better. Luo Feng said coldly. Alright. The lowly bed's eyes shone brightly. Boom. The dark golden staff on his back shot out countless rays of golden light. Luo Feng's gaze was like lightning as he stared at his opponent. The dark golden long rod on his back rumbled and shot out 10,000 gold light. In an instant, countless blade silhouettes floated and the golden origin laws linked together, connecting to the universe space and gold laws. His spirit energy combined with the origin laws, immediately forming a world, blade world. That human genius is also using the Nanshin armament. They're both the Nanshin armament's 6th level blade world. Bibu's blade world seems to be even bigger. Over 1 billion Golden Horn clansmen discussed softly and watched excitedly. Rumble. Rumble. The moment the two large blade worlds formed, they clashed. The worlds clashed, the ground shook and the mountains shook. Countless blade energy crumbled. Luo Feng's blade world began to crack, almost as though it was about to shatter. It's about to break. The human genius is at a disadvantage. Bibu is about to win. The Golden Horn clansmen were extremely excited. Indeed, the Golden Horn genius that Elder Si Fanqi recognized as having the strength to pass the Heavenly Bridge's 9th level. His blade world is obviously much stronger than mine. Luo Feng roared softly. Immediately his spirit energy control was pushed to the limit. Over 3,200 spirit energy amplitude was completely released, causing the initially shaky blade world to immediately stabilize and become more real. Rumble. Rumble. The two blade worlds clashed time and time again, causing the space to tremble. He's also trained the blade world to a perfect level? The Bibu youth's expression changed. The 6th level was split into 3 levels. As one's comprehension got higher and higher, the stability of the blade world would get stronger and stronger, finally reaching a limit. Normally, one would need to reach the Heavenly Bridge's 9th level origin law comprehension to reach its most stable state. Even after 50 years of training, Luo Feng's origin law comprehension was only roughly at the peak of the Heavenly Bridge's 7th level. Unfortunately, over 3,200 spirit energy amplitude allowed Luo Feng's spirit energy to rise to 32 times the normal limit. This allowed Luo Feng's control of the blade world to immediately reach a level normally only reached at the Heavenly Bridge's 9th level. As the saying goes, others only have one person, I have 32 to stabilize the world. Even if his origin law comprehension was low, he could still reach an extremely high level. Human genius. If he couldn't reach this level, that would be weird. The Bibu youth thought. His lips curled up and his eyes gleamed like never before. Then let's see who's stronger. World Blade. Condense. The Bibu youth gritted his teeth. The two sword worlds collided, but suddenly, the world controlled by the young man rapidly shrank, but at the same time, the density of the sword chi became higher and higher. In the end, it became a huge crystal sword that was only about 10 meters long, and it enveloped the young man within it. The 10 m long huge blade completely enveloped the blade world within. The energy wasn't wasted at all, it was extremely condensed. This was the third level of the blade world. Condense. Luo Feng too roared. With his telekinesis amplitude of over 3,200, the massive sword world, which had a diameter of over 10 kilometers, rapidly shrunk. In an instant it condensed into a crystal sword that was about 10 meters long, and he stood inside the crystal sword. You're definitely going to lose. The Bibu roared. Come. Luo Feng only had eyes for his opponent. Who? The two of them were within the crystal huge blade, each controlling their own crystal huge blades, each leaving a faint golden rainbow in mid-air and immediately clashing. The Bibu's crystal huge blade was as fast as lightning, unpredictable and incomparably ferocious. Luo Feng's crystal huge blade seemed to carry the power of the land and skies, incomparably sharp, clashing and clashing. Two completely different styles. Bang. 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 The two crystal huge blades that were completely infused with blade worlds were terrifyingly fast, clashing time and time again, almost like two absolute swordsmen attacking each other. Ka. Luo Feng looked up fiercely. He realized that the crystal huge blade he was controlling was already cracking and cracking. He couldn't help but be shocked with such a clash. The crystal huge blade formed from his blade world was already unstable and about to crumble. He's about to win. That human genius's blade world is about to crumble. Haha, he's definitely going to win. The Bibu hasn't even used his strongest move yet. He's already mastered the special blade technique of the blade world, the vibration space blade technique. The moment it's unleashed, that human genius will definitely lose. Humph, that goes without saying. Our Golden Horn clan is the true origin of the Nanshin armament. The techniques unleashed by the Nanshin armament are countless. That human genius using the Nanshin armament, he's definitely going to lose. You can't last long. Such a simple logic you don't even understand? The Bibu roared. You really disappoint me. The human genius only has this little bit of strength. I've only used 70% of my strength up till now. Watch my strongest vibration space blade technique. The crystal huge blade controlled by the Bibu 2 began to connect with the power of the land and skies, and its speed became even faster, even more erratic, immediately rushing towards Luo Feng. What an exquisite control technique! Luo Feng was shocked. He had only acquired the Nanshin armament, and only knew the basic control techniques. As for how to unleash the full power of each level, it all depended on his own comprehension. However, in the Golden Horn clan, the Nanshin armament had 9 levels. Every level had its own corresponding techniques. These techniques were all created by the Golden Horn clan geniuses, requiring a certain level of comprehension of the origin laws to unleash. How could a battle technique created by one person compare to the countless techniques accumulated by the Golden Horn clan geniuses over the generations? Rumble! The blade world crystal huge blade controlled by the Bibu had already produced a blurry image. The surrounding universe space had strangely been drawn into this blade. The power of this blade was simply terrifying. Natural ability, strengthen. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Internal world. That incomparably huge golden-horned beast raised its head and roared. The golden horn on its forehead glowed with a glaring gold light that enveloped its entire body. Its natural ability immediately activated, and its consciousness strength immediately doubled. Blood warrior, blood river energy, activate. Luo Feng seemed to have gone mad. Against the oppressive Nanshin armament's blade, Luo Feng immediately unleashed his natural ability, strengthening along with his Earth body's blood river energy. Absorbing 3 blood river crystals, it caused his Earth body's origin law compatibility to double, causing the origin law-infused attack of the crystal huge blade's power to soar. Natural ability strengthening, consciousness soaring, controlling the crystal huge blade's power to soar again. 2 consecutive soars. Luo Feng controlled the crystal huge blade, connecting to the universe space. Its power was even more terrifying, its speed was even faster, that tyrannical charge was even stronger. Gold, extreme yang, extreme hardness, incomparable sharpness. Break. Luo Feng's eyes were bloodshot. Space-shaking blade technique. Bibu's crystal huge blade had already traversed a few km distance, instantly arriving before Luo Feng. Rumble, like 2 trains colliding. Like Mars colliding with Earth. Bibu's crystal huge blade began to break apart, following which with a purring, the incomparably condensed blade world exploded and large amounts of little golden blades flew in all directions. Luo Feng's crystal huge blade was even more tyrannical, charging forward, smashing through the opponent's crystal huge blade and simultaneously crashing into Bibu's body. Purring! Bibu's entire body flew back 10 kilometers, crashing fiercely into the walls of the dojo and falling down. Luo Feng controlled the translucent crystal huge blade and looked at Bibu. Finally, when it crashed into Bibu's body, he could clearly feel a strong energy blocking it. Bibu seemed to have flown far enough, however, in truth, the true fatal force of the attack had already been dissipated by over 90%, otherwise Bibu would have been smashed into meat paste. At the last moment, the Undying must have secretly saved Bibu. Luo Feng thought. That was good too. The main thing was that after unleashing his strongest attack, he couldn't even stop it in time. It was quiet. When Luo Feng controlled the crystal huge blade in mid-air of the dojo, the over 1 billion Golden Horn clansmen were silent. They lost. P.S. Chapter 2 has arrived. Continue writing the 3rd chapter. Chapter 665. From the start of this battle, Bei Zi from the Golden Horn clan had already displayed his advantage. Even before the battle ended, Bei Zi had confidently unleashed his strongest move, using the huge crystal blade of the Blade World to unleash the vibration space blade technique, wanting to easily defeat Luo Feng. However, the situation suddenly changed. The human geniuses suddenly erupted and defeated the lowly bed with overwhelming strength. How did this happen? How did he lose? He was still. The countless Golden Horn clansmen couldn't accept this result. And the host's voice resounded once again. This battle, the human genius Luo Feng wins. After hearing the final result, Luo Feng couldn't be bothered to look at Bei Zi, who was heavily injured and swiftly flew into the pathway. Congratulations, Your Majesty. Dylan smiled. Your Majesty, Luo Feng's strength is indeed extraordinary. Entering Domain Lord level 9 for such a short period of time and actually defeating our clan's genius Bei Zi. Elder Si Fanqi congratulated Luo Yunyang. However, based on his tone, Elder Si Fanqi wasn't very happy. Let's hurry and leave. Luo Feng's ears could clearly hear the over 1 billion Golden Horn clansmen's chatter, discussion, yelling, and even the sounds of challenges. Many Golden Horn clansmen's youths were shouting, Human Luo Feng, I want to challenge you. Human Luo Feng, accept my challenge. Accept my challenge. Challenges, raging shouts, all sorts of voices mixed together, the sound waves almost seemed to tear the sky apart. Yes, we have to leave immediately. Dylan nodded. Too passionate. Luo Feng shook his head and smiled. The normal members of the clan are looking forward to a victory. Bei Zi's defeat will indeed cause many to be angry and unwilling. Elder Si Fanqi shook his head and exclaimed, however, they are all normal members, their vision is narrow. They can't even see the difference between our Golden Horn clan and humans. Just winning a genius battle is useless to the entire clan. However, to make the clan more united, even though they know this is boring, they still have to support it. Luo Feng nodded. Your Majesty Luo Feng, let's leave from the back. Elder Si Fanqi said. Luo Feng, Elder Si Fanqi, Kashna, Dylan and the 5-sector Lord Guards quietly followed a pathway to leave the dojo. However, the moment they left, they were stopped by a group of youths. Human Luo Feng, please accept my challenge. Human Genius, I Chi Nua, officially challenge you. The group of young men of the Golden Horn clan was extremely excited. Hurry and leave. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. Yes. Dylan nodded. Don't worry, it's fine. Elder Si Fanqi used his undying power to suppress the group of youths. Whoosh! Luo Feng and his group swiftly tore through the skies and flew towards the Saint City. The Holy City was incomparably vast, and within the Holy City there was a city within a city, the Holy Land. The Holy Land was the most dazzling and sacred place in the entire world of Lazio. There were some residences there, specially prepared for the strong members of the Golden Horn clan. There were also 2 towers. One was called the Secret Tome Tower, and the other was called the Holy Tablet Tower. In terms of importance, the Holy Tablet Tower was a level higher. Look! Elder Si Fanqi pointed at a white tower that was more than 100 miles high in the distance. That is the Secret Tome Tower. It contains the trial books of many powerful warriors of our Golden Horn clan. Trial copy? Luo Feng froze. Right. Elder Si Fanqi nodded. There are countless manuals within the clan. To allow the later generations to have a better choice of technique, create a trial book for each secret manual. The trial book only contains a small portion of the secret technique's contents at the very beginning. This trial book is purely to let the reader understand what the secret manual is about. As for the detailed cultivation method, there is none. Luo Feng nodded. Only after confirming which one to choose and sending the request will the true manual be given. Elder Si Fanqi smiled. After all, the manuals our Golden Horn clan has accumulated over countless years are priceless. If we were to put all of them in, I'm afraid there would be many strong clans fighting over them. And right now there are only trial copies. None of them have any training methods. It's very safe. Luo Feng understood the reason for doing this. The other Holy Tablet Tower is where the Holy Tablets are stored. Elder Si Fanqi pointed at the other tower that was completely gold in color. Your Majesty Luo Feng, you have the chance to study the Holy Tablets alone for a month. When that time comes, you'll enter that tower. Look! The Sacred Land is a city within a city. Elder Si Fanqi pointed to the surroundings. There were many quiet and unadorned residences around them. There were no extravagant decorations, and everything looked ancient and simple. At a glance, a large number of residences exuded a very unique ancient charm. On the streets, one could see unkempt Golden Horn clan warriors walking about. All of them seemed to be deep in thought. The Sacred Land didn't have any facilities for eating or entertainment. This was a training atmosphere. To have a residence in the Sacred Land to train peacefully, one has to be a warrior that is truly respected by countless clansmen, or an absolute genius that countless clansmen praise, or someone that the elders value. Elder Si Fanqi exclaimed. The ones training in the Sacred Land are the future hope of our Golden Horn clan. Your Majesty, our Golden Horn clan has also prepared a place for you to stay. Elder Si Fanqi smiled. Please follow me. After a while, a simple training residence that took up about 10 hectares of land appeared in their field of vision. Luo Feng and his group stood before it. Si Fanqi pointed at the residence before them. This is considered the largest training residence in the Sacred Land. Your Majesty, you can arrange for your guards to stay here. After studying for a month at the Saint Tablet Pagoda, you can also stay here to properly absorb the wonders within the Saint Tablet. Your Majesty Luo Feng. Outside the training residence, a black-armored Golden Horn clansman bowed respectfully. From today onwards, this residence will be your Majesty's residence. Your Majesty can stay here for as long as you wish." Luo Feng smiled and nodded. "The 5 of you can rest here first." Luo Feng ordered the 5 sector lord guards. "Yes, Your Majesty." The 5 bowed respectfully. "Dylan, accompany me to the tower to take a look." Luo Feng smiled. Bringing Dylan, Elder Si Fan Chi and Kashna, they walked a few hundred km and arrived at the majestic and resplendent Holy Tablet Tower. Luo Feng raised his head to look at the golden tower that was over 100 kilometers tall. "Human Luo Feng." A low voice resounded in Luo Feng's mind. "I, guardian of the tower, you have the chance to study alone in the tower for a month. Will you begin now?" "Right now." Luo Feng nodded. "All right." The guardian of the Holy Tablet Tower interrupted some Golden Horn clansmen who were comprehending the Holy Tablet and drove them out of the Holy Tablet Tower. Perhaps these Golden Horn clansmen hadn't used up their time to comprehend the Holy Tablet Tower yet. However, because of the human race, they could only continue to comprehend the Holy Tablet Tower after a month. Human genius? Look, that's the one. I was studying just fine and was interrupted. I still have 3 days to study. I can only wait for a month before I can come back for another 3 days. Really? Who asked them to be humans? Tens of Golden Horn clansmen walked out of the tower. Glancing at Luo Feng and his group, they communicated and discussed. However, they didn't dare cause trouble. They only communicated and left. "Dylan, you all go back first. I'll be studying in the tower. I'll come out in a month," Luo Feng said and headed towards the entrance of the tower. The moment he entered the tower, he felt a bone-piercing cold. Just breathing made him feel the cold seep into his body. "Human Luo Feng, I am the guardian of the tower. You can call me the guardian." His entire body was covered in gorgeous black armor, revealing only a pair of purple eyes. Through the helmet, one could faintly see that the guardian's skin was dark red, and his entire body was suffused with an extremely terrifying and sharp aura. Beside him, there was a 3 m tall huge blade embedded in the ground. The formless pressure it gave Luo Feng, it wasn't any weaker than true yen. "Guardian." Luo Feng bowed. "Go in," the guardian said solemnly. Luo Feng nodded. Walking along the pitch-black passageway, he soon arrived at an incomparably vast hall. Looking up, he could even see the ceiling of the Sage Tablet Pagoda, which was over 100 kilometers tall. It was obvious that the entire Sage Tablet Pagoda only had 1 floor, and in this vast hall was a towering crystal Holy Tablet. The entire monument was about 300 meters tall, 100 meters wide, and 50 meters thick. It was made of a light green crystal. A suffocating aura emanated from the crystal monument. At the same time, there was a hole in the center of the crystal monument. The hole was about 30 centimeters in diameter and 1 m deep. It was a conical hole. It's different from our humans' 52 primal chaos tablet. Firstly, the materials are different. The feeling is different too. Luo Feng stood in front of the Saint Tablet, immediately looking at the 300 m tall pale green crystal tablet. There was actually a very peculiar demon picture, a human-shaped demon roaring. Demon roaring picture? The entire crystal tablet is just this picture. And there's actually a conical hole in the center? Luo Feng muttered to himself. After which, he didn't think anymore and began to carefully examine the tablet. Just as he focused, his consciousness was uncontrollably sucked into the demon roaring picture. Rumble, his consciousness was sucked into one of the wings of the demon roaring picture. It was almost as though he could see the endless space, the universe and stars evolving. Just as Luo Feng realized something, the internal world that had been stuck at the pinnacle of the domain lord level seemed to be affected by this and suddenly began to tremble. Ah! Luo Feng was shocked. He immediately came out of his meditation state and understood what was happening. The internal world is about to evolve. It's about to step into the Sector Lord level. P.S. 3 chapters completed. Tomorrow was a rest day, Saturday. Tomato didn't dare rest completely. He decided to rest for a while. There would be a new chapter tomorrow. Chapter 666. Luo Feng stood before the huge Saint tablet and closed his eyes, his consciousness completely immersed in the internal world. Internal world. The vast metal continent, which was 900,000 kilometers in length and width, began to crazily devour the endless golden mist surrounding the continent as well as the endless golden mist in the sky above the continent. The mist shrouded the entire metal continent, but unlike the previous few metamorphoses, the vast metal continent did not expand after devouring the golden mist, but shrunk. Chi, the more it absorbed, the smaller the continent got, and the larger the internal world space got. In just a short while, the diameter of the entire inner world was more than 10 times larger than before. Meanwhile, the vast metal continent, which was 900,000 kilometers in length and width, became smaller and smaller as the metal mist accumulated over countless years. In the end, it became a bottomless abyss surrounded by golden mountains. Two-world abyss form. Rumble. Two-world abyss floated within the vast internal world space. The walls of the abyss were filled with incomparably complex engravings, much more complex than the engravings of the beast godhead roaring diagram of blood river power he had seen before. At the same time, countless golden specks of light were condensing within the mountains of the two worlds abyss. Those golden specks of light were the essence of the metal continent that was 900,000 kilometers long and wide, as well as the endless golden mist. At this moment, the densely packed golden specks of light were whirling incessantly, slowly condensing like a nebula. Gold Horn World Stone, condense. Luo Feng's consciousness was strong, directly controlling the process. Rumble. The nebula-like countless golden specks immediately condensed into one, forming a pyramid-shaped golden stone that was about the size of a thumb. This golden stone floated within the two-world abyss mountain range, however it caused the surrounding space to ripple, formless ripples completely causing the entire internal world to tremble. Gold Horn World Stone. A golden horned beast can only produce one gold horn world stone in its entire life. This stone is formed from the golden horned beast's huge internal world's true gold essence. It contains gold and space elements, it's a true treasure. Luo Feng exclaimed within. The gold horn world stone, the golden horned beast's most important treasure, because after breaking through from the domain lord level to sector lord level, the golden horned beast's internal world would no longer be pure gold energy. It would become a very normal world with rivers and mountains, an internal world that could accommodate life. Therefore, the violent and aggressive metal energy condensed into a two-worlds abyss. The essence of the two-world abyss was within the gold horn world stone. While the internal world was changing, Luo Feng's earth body's core was also changing. Rumble. The soul crystal and origin crystal melted into a liquid torrent under the influence of an invisible force. The two torrents began to come into contact, and when the spirit power and origin force truly came into contact, the first fusion after the fusion of consciousness and will, the first strand of world force was born. The power of the world was born. This allowed Luo Feng's consciousness to resonate and feel the vast universe's origin. The primeval universe was the most ancient, vast, and powerful universe that nurtured the most life forms. Although the primal universe was an independent universe outside of the primal universe, it was not even a fraction of the primal universe. The true origin of the primeval universe. When the first thread of world energy was produced within Luo Feng's body, it connected to the incredibly distant source grounds. Ah! This is the origin of the universe? Luo Feng's consciousness, under the resonance of the world energy, immediately entered the origin of the universe. It was an incredibly vast land. With Luo Feng's consciousness, he could only feel this endless land, he couldn't feel anything else. And this endless land, every grain of sand was like a space, and within the space were endless universe crystals. One grain of sand, one world? One world, endless universe crystals. This is the true appearance of the universe origin grounds? Luo Feng was incredibly shocked. However, the trillions of kilometers of land that he could feel was probably just a small portion of the universe origin ground. Even so, it was enough to make Luo Feng tremble. Two worlds resonance. When Luo Feng's consciousness truly came into contact with the universe origin grounds, his core and internal world simultaneously underwent shocking changes. The internal world originally only had two world abyss left, but at this moment, it was as though a passage had been opened between the inner world and the primeval origin source land of the universe. An endless amount of the origin source energy of the universe, the world energy, surged into the inner world like a raging flood. It was incomparably violent, and in an instant, the space of the inner world was completely filled. One had to know the internal world's space was already 10 times larger than before, yet it was still filled in an instant. Obviously, to the primeval universe origin grounds, any grain of sand's universe crystal's energy was enough to fill up Luo Feng's internal world. How satisfying! Instantly having so much universe energy, it's a pity. Such a chance is only available once when a domain lord breaks through to the sector lord level. And it's also the only chance. Luo Feng sighed within, after which he didn't think any further, his consciousness controlling the universe origin energy that filled up the internal world energy. Condense. Central continent, metal, wood, water, fire and earth, the 5 peripheral continents. The diameter of the vast central continent was about 5 million kilometers, and there were 5 peripheral continents with diameters of about 1 million kilometers. These 5 continents were either fiery hot, cold, or filled with endless grass and trees, metal mountain ranges, or endless thick earth. Between the 6 continents is the endless ocean. Rumble, between the land and land, there was an endless amount of water, flooding the entire internal world. The ocean area far exceeded the land area. Within the central continent there's an internal ocean. Suddenly, the central part of the central continent, which had a diameter of 5 million kilometers, began to collapse. The soil turned into nothingness, and endless seawater was born. In an instant, a vast inland sea with a diameter of 900,000 kilometers was born. This inland sea was completely inside the central continent. The heart of the internal ocean is the two-world abyss. Goo goo, the ocean churned. The two-world abyss slowly rose, almost like a lone island in the internal ocean. The center of the island was the endless abyss, almost like it led to another world. Endless living things grow. Luo Feng allowed the internal world to naturally evolve, the central continent, the 5 peripheral continents, the internal ocean, the endless ocean, all of them naturally grew plants, flowers, mountains, etc. In an instant, the entire internal world was no different from a real world. Internal world form. Hua Hua, the unused large amounts of universe origin energy swiftly transformed into universe crystals, immediately forming a universe crystal mountain on the continent. The internal world had already been formed, the universe energy world energy naturally formed a universe crystal mountain. Normally when one just stepped into the sector lord level, they would all have such encounters. However, normal sector lords had no way of obtaining such a huge universe crystal mountain, because those sector lords' internal worlds were much smaller than Luo Feng's. From what I know, many sector lords' internal worlds are usually over 10,000 kilometers in diameter, and my internal world's diameter is over 10 million kilometers. The stronger the internal world, the more powerful the core it had to be. From the 900,000 kilometers long and wide internal world to over 10 million kilometers in diameter, Luo Feng's core once again underwent a fundamental change. During the process, the core naturally absorbed the essence energy that leaked from the internal world, which was also a small portion of the gold horn world stone's energy. Rumble, within the core, the spirit energy flow and genetic energy flow had already completely fused. Following the universe's natural evolution, it had transformed into an origin orb. The orb revolved slightly, releasing endless threads, connecting to the core. Because of this, the original core had completely changed. From the Star Traveler level to the Domain Lord level, the core had always been translucent, with complicated golden engravings on the surface, emitting golden light. It was very mysterious. However, after stepping into the Sector Lord level, the core absorbed the essence energy of the internal world, the energy of the origin orb, the energy of the universe energy, becoming a seemingly normal core. Simple and unadorned. There was no light, even the golden engravings had been completely retracted. My God! Luo Feng was shocked. My current core can hold a 10 million kilometers diameter internal world. It's already much more terrifying than many Sector Lord Pinnacle's core. When I reach the pinnacle of Sector Lords, just what level will this core reach? No wonder the golden horned beast has 3 great natural abilities, inherited memories, and a lifespan that's 10 times that of a human's. However, those that break through to the undying level are still extremely few. Feeling the core's strength, Luo Feng understood how difficult it was to break through to the undying level. Even now, if Luo Feng let go of his defenses and let a strong attack his core, even a Sector Lord Pinnacle wouldn't be able to break it. Of course, Luo Feng wouldn't let others attack his own. After stepping into the Sector Lord level, the internal world is already a true world. It doesn't necessarily have to swallow metals. Normal Sector Lords all use universe crystals to push their world to evolve. Before, when my internal world expanded, it too relied on the endless universe crystals to instantly evolve. I have 2 paths. The first path uses universe crystals to expand the internal world. That way, even when I reach the pinnacle of Sector Lords, the internal world's diameter will only exceed 30 million kilometers. The second path still uses the most precious metals to swallow. Those metals are most suitable for the golden horned beast. After being swallowed by the 2-world abyss, the purest and most precious metal energy will be absorbed into the golden horn world stone. The other energies will directly push the internal world to evolve. After the gold horn world stone transforms, traces of its essence energy will affect the original core, making the original core stronger and able to hold a larger inner world. Such a peak Sector Lord's limit is an inner world with a diameter of over 90 million kilometers. Luo Feng was very clear. The first path meant it was slightly easier. Many golden horned beasts would choose this path. The second path was incomparably difficult, because the shackles were stronger. However, the benefits were that the internal world would be bigger, its power would be stronger, its future god country would be stronger too. The constantly absorbing essence of the golden horn world stone could be said to be the highest quality. Chapter 667. 2 paths, one easy, one hard. Which one to choose? Within the tower, Luo Feng, who was standing before the Saint Tablet with his eyes closed, revealed a smile. My heart is like a mirror, seeing through all illusions. My heart is like a blade, cutting through all obstacles. Luo Feng didn't hesitate at all, calmly making his decision. If I don't even have the courage to break through to undying as a golden horned beast, how can I even talk about becoming an absolute being in the universe? How can I even talk about becoming a true upper echelon of humanity? I believe I can do it. I definitely can. Luo Feng thought. As someone who had received guidance from Thunder God and Hong to train his mental state, he placed more emphasis on his mental state. If a person didn't even have the courage to challenge difficult things, then he was destined to achieve nothing at all. And if he had absolute confidence and courage when facing truly difficult problems, then he would have to work hard and surpass his limits, getting closer to his goal. Even if he failed in the end, his achievements would still be extremely high. Just like that, Luo Feng naturally chose the second path, swallowing large amounts of metals to strengthen his internal world. Actually, he had long purchased the metals needed for the Sector Lord level from this, within, Luo Feng had already planned for his future. Back then, when I was a normal warrior on Earth, did anyone ever think that I would become a Milky Way leader? When I entered the universe as Earth's strongest warrior, did anyone ever think that I would become one of the top 10 geniuses of humanity's 1008 universe countries in the genius battles? Did anyone ever think that I would be able to make it into the primal region in the first qualification battles? And right now, many people think that I have hopes of becoming an official or emperor level undying. However, how many would dare to think that I would become a universe knight level being? Luo Feng thought, his eyes gleaming even more. A true warrior had absolute confidence in himself. Firstly, he dared to think, then he worked hard, only then could he succeed. If he didn't even dare to have such a goal, how could he succeed? Internal world. Within the vast internal world, on a grass plain in the central continent, there was a space beast that was like a black mountain range. Beside it stood a black Masha Luo Feng. The golden-horned beast has broken through to Sector Lord level. The Masha clansman has broken through to the Sector Lord level. Following the push of his consciousness, the originally majestic universe crystal mountain of countless universe crystals immediately shattered into dense world energy. It was like two streams of energy. One stream of world energy continuously flowed into the golden-horned beast's body. The other flow continued to surge into Masha Luo Feng's body. Of the two torrents, one was about 10 meters thick, while the other was more than 10 kilometers thick. Kakaka, the golden-horned beast's entire body made all sorts of sounds. After training the nameless manual, its body that was already stronger than before started to evolve. It swallowed large amounts of world energy, causing its body to grow larger and larger. Its scales became even tighter, to the point that there was even a layer of transparent scales. On the golden-horned beast's forehead began to grow a fifth horn, the other 4 horns also began to grow longer. Rumble, the Masha clone next to him completely turned into a black stream of energy, and the black stream of energy became denser and denser. In the center of the black stream of energy, one could faintly see a resplendent life crystal that flickered with spatial laws. Boom! Boom! The 10 kilometers thick world energy stream and 10 m thick world energy stream were cut off at the same time. The golden-horned beast's body length had already reached a shocking 100 kilometers. The moment its scaled wings were unleashed, it could easily cover any huge city on Earth. In the blink of an eye, it could go one round around Earth. To such a powerful being, a planet was simply too small. The place it lived in was the universe space. Hua hua, the rumbling black energy suddenly condensed and formed into a black-clothed Luo Feng. Sector Lord Golden-Horned Beast and Sector Lord Masha Luo Feng stood on the grass plain. Howl, the golden-horned beast raised its head and let out a roar that shook the entire endless world, announcing that it had finally stepped into the Sector Lord level. Haha, Masha Luo Feng too let out a carefree laugh. After stepping into the Sector Lord level, it's indeed different. Masha Luo Feng's face was filled with glee. This Masha clansman's space law compatibility was increased by tens of times, and the Sector Lord level is the fastest level to train. Now that it has stepped into the Sector Lord level, along with the Masha clansman's growth, it's simply. It was said that the training speed at the Sector Lord level was extremely fast. Sector Lord level was an explosive period of strength. Even the Undying level couldn't compare to the Sector Lord level. This was also why many warriors would rather stay at the Sector Lord level for longer and not rush to break through to the Undying level. Just like that time Sector Lord Luo, he had stayed at the Sector Lord level for so long. However, now that his lifespan was nearing its end, stepping into the Undying level was extremely dangerous. Within the empty Saint Tablet Tower, before the majestic Saint Tablet, Luo Feng stood silently and finally opened his eyes. I've broken through to the Sector Lord level. With the two-world abyss, it'll be much safer to use my natural ability swallowing in the future than before. Luo Feng thought. The Golden Horned Beast and Masha Clansman have both reached Sector Lord level 1. From Domain Lord to Sector Lord, this huge leap in strength is indeed exaggerated. I'm not in a rush to train that 10,000 soul control technique. It won't be too late to train after a month of studying the Saint Tablet. I can't waste this month. Although it sounded slow, in truth the internal world breakthrough, the Golden Horned Beast and Masha Clansman didn't even take half a day. After which Luo Feng focused on the pale green crystal Saint Tablet before him. The towering holy monument had a huge picture of a roaring demon on it. The demon had 2 curved horns, a pair of wings, and a pair of eyes that were like flames. At first glance, it looked like an ordinary picture of a roaring demon, but if one really looked at it carefully, every feather on the demon's wings, the flames surrounding the eyes, every strand of hair, every pattern on the curved horns, and the mysterious patterns on the armor, they were all mysterious and profound. Rumble. A portion of Luo Feng's consciousness was immersed in the demon-roaring picture. The majority of his consciousness, the Golden Horned Beast and Masha Clansman's consciousness, immediately passed through the world energy and entered the universe source grounds. The mysterious universe source grounds. The core of the entire primal universe, no one knew when it existed. However, one only knew that, at Sector Lord level, one's consciousness could enter the universe source grounds for the first time. This feels too good. A large part of Luo Feng's consciousness was sucked into the endless land, entering a grain of sand, and his consciousness was unprecedentedly clear. He could feel gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, light, space, time, all sorts of ripples, he could feel them all. The origin of laws was also hidden in the mysterious origin of the universe. When one's consciousness entered the universe source grounds, it would be incomparably close to the origin laws. As it was incomparably close, hence the feeling was extremely clear. Even the wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, light and time that he didn't understand in the past, the clarity of his comprehension wasn't any lower than when he was at the Domain Lord level. Of course, if the clarity of wood, water and fire was 100, then the clarity of the gold laws would be 10,000, and the space laws would be 200,000. How can the Sector Lord level not be fast? This origin law comprehension is more than 100 times easier. Many things that couldn't be comprehended at the universe level or Domain Lord level, after becoming a Sector Lord, one can still train to the point of being recognized by the origin laws. Luo Feng exclaimed, "The Sector Lord level is indeed blessed by the heavens." World energy was a special form of creation energy. The Realm Lords used the power of the world to create a world, and the origin grounds of the universe. That boundless land was the boundless power of the world. Every grain of sand contained an endless amount of universe crystals. It was because the world energy was special, hence one's consciousness could enter the universe source grounds. The moment one reached undying, the energy level would change once more, possessing even stronger undying energy. However, he would no longer be able to merge his consciousness with the land. It wasn't always better to be stronger, it was better to be suitable. With the world energy, one would have the chance to comprehend all sorts of laws. The moment one stepped into the undying level, even after millions and trillions of years, one wouldn't be able to comprehend the space laws. Firstly, the higher one went, the harder it got. Secondly, the undying level couldn't be as extravagant as the Sector Lord level. At the Sector Lord level, some absolute geniuses only trained for tens of thousands of years, and their comprehension of the laws could match an Emperor-level undying. However, a normal undying, breaking through constantly, to reach Emperor level, even 100 million years was impossible. This was the advantage. The advantage of a sector lord. This was also the reason why many ambitious people didn't want to enter the Undying Realm too quickly. They wanted to comprehend more laws at the sector lord level, so that the moment they stepped into the Undying Realm, they would have a strong foundation, directly becoming an official level. Or even an emperor-level Undying. Like that absolute genius Kudi. He was able to kill an official-level Undying at sector lord level. If he didn't die and entered the Undying level, then the moment he did, he would immediately reach the emperor level. Within the internal world, Masha Luofeng sat crossed-legged. Within his body, the complex space engravings on the life crystal rippled, causing the Masha clansman's consciousness to sense the space ripples to increase by 10 times. Blood River Energy. The golden horned beast also activated the Blood River energy in its right claw. Its right claw swiftly transformed, simultaneously a blood-colored beast god head roaring appeared, causing the golden horned beast's ability to sense the gold laws to increase by 10 times. Before, the gold law's clarity was 10,000, the space law's clarity was 200,000. And at this time, the gold law's clarity was 100,000, the space law's clarity was estimated to be over 200,000. This far surpassed wood, water, fire, thunder, light, and time. It's too beautiful. While studying the Demon Roar diagram tablet, I'm also comparing it with the space and gold laws. Comparing and studying, this speed is really. Luofeng felt that studying in front of the tablet for a day was equivalent to 100 years of studying at the Domain Lord level. Of course, the main thing was that, at the Sector Lord level, Luofeng's training speed was hundreds of times faster than at the Domain Lord level. Chapter 668. Luofeng studied within the pagoda, hungry and thirsty, not daring to waste any time at all. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Sacred City, within one of the ancient training quarters within the Sacred Land, Si Fan Chi, Kashna, Dylan and the 5 sector lords all stayed here. His Majesty Luofeng has already entered the pagoda to train. You all better focus on your training. When your strength surpasses that lowly being, come and find the human Luofeng. At the entrance of the training quarters, Elder Si Fan Chi looked coldly at the group of golden horn youths gathered outside. Not having enough strength, and still coming to challenge, haven't you lost enough face? Undying pressure emanated out. This caused the group of golden horn youths to feel fear. Emperor-level Undyings, even in the strong upper tribes, there were usually only 1 or 2. They were definitely high and mighty beings. What are you still standing here for? All of you scram back. Elder Si Fan Chi roared fiercely. Yes, Elder. The group of youths bowed obediently. Even though they were unwilling, they still left. Elder Si Fan Chi watched as the youths left. He couldn't help but shake his head. These youths were completely riled up by the glory of defeating the humans in history. All of them were completely riled up. Compared to the humans, our clan's intelligence is obviously much lower. Elder Si Fan Chi sighed within. The stone life form and the flesh and blood life form are very different. Maybe the chances of producing a strong warrior is higher, however their reproduction rate and intelligence are much lower. These youths within the clan are riled up. All of them don't care about anything else. The Golden Horn clan was indeed like that. As long as they were riled up, they would risk their lives. Humans, however, were different. Human beings were more intelligent. Even the apprentice-level human beings were extremely smart. The experts of the Golden Horn clan might have a strong consciousness calculation ability, which could be compared to optical computers, but they were not good at EQ. To put it simply, they were stupid and not smart enough. However, the existences that had lived for a long time still had high intelligence under the test of time. Elder Si Fan Chi. Dylan brought 5 sector lord guards and walked over. Mr. Dylan. Si Fan Chi smiled at Dylan. I've troubled Elder Si Fan Chi. Every time there are too many challengers, Elder Si Fan Chi has to step in to suppress them. Dylan, who was dressed in a black robe, smiled. In the past 20 days, I haven't had a break. Elder Si Fan-Chi, you've worked hard. It's our Golden Horn clan's fault. Si Fan-Chi shook his head helplessly. Our Golden Horn clan has too many youngsters. Although we've forbidden them from disturbing us, there are still some fearless youngsters who dare to challenge us. I couldn't kill the future of the clan, so I could only order them to leave. Mr. Dillon, you can't cultivate in peace. Nothing. Dillon shook his head. Actually, it's not a big deal for these clansmen to challenge us. Elder Si Fan-Chi shook his head. What I'm really worried about is a genius young man in the clan. Who? Dillon asked. Baichio. Elder Si Fan-Chi said solemnly, Sacred City Elder God Palace Genius, one of the Bei brothers' older brother Baichio. Amongst the Domain Lord Level 9 geniuses, Baichio, who was defeated by His Majesty Luo Feng before, has the right to be in the top 10. And his brother Baichio is definitely number 1. In terms of origin law comprehension, according to your human standards, he should have the ability to reach the 10th level of the Heavenly Bridge. 10th level? Dillon was shocked. Going from the 9th level to the 10th was extremely difficult. The Virtual Universe Company had a total of 10 Domain Lord Primal Region members, of which 9 were at the 10th level and 1 at the 11th. He didn't expect the Golden Horn clan to have such a genius. The Bei brothers are known for their ferocity. They're a pair of brothers with heavy killing intent. Elder Si Fan-Chi emphasized. Baichio has lost. His brother Baichio will definitely rush back to the Sacred City. With Baichio's arrogant and ferocious personality, he'll definitely challenge His Majesty Luo Feng. The other clansmen can just challenge him. However, Baichio, he's the number 1 amongst the Domain Lord geniuses. Dillon frowned too. Actually, the fact that Luo Feng could defeat Baichio previously was already a surprise to Dillon. Dillon had even secretly informed Tru Yen of the battle. His Majesty will probably lose against that Baichio, Dillon thought. The difference between the 9th and 10th level is extremely obvious. His Majesty's training time is too short. Just as Elder Si Fan-Chi and Dillon were chatting, they suddenly sensed a powerful aura. Elder Si Fan-Chi, Dillon, the 5 sector lords and Kashna all turned to look. Saint Tablet Tower. Si Fan-Chi and Dillon were shocked. In the distance, the majestic golden tower that was 100 kilometers tall was currently enveloped by an incredibly powerful origin law energy. Golden engravings revolved around it and golden light shot in all directions. In an instant, the entire golden tower was incomparably glaring. The intense origin law ripples made one's heart palpitate. The origin laws have descended. Si Fan-Chi and Dillon glanced at each other in shock. They were very clear on what this meant. His Highness is in the Saint Monument Pagoda. A world overlord guard behind Dillon called out in joy. Other than the Guardian, there's only His Majesty Luo Feng within the tower. Elder Si Fan-Chi's eyes gleamed. Right now, the origin laws have descended and it's the gold laws. Without a doubt, His Majesty Luo Feng has already gained the recognition of the gold laws. The recognition of the origin laws. Kashna was shocked. His Majesty Luo Feng is only at the Domain Lord level, Dillon looked at the distant tower and was extremely excited. He nodded and thought, I have to immediately report this to the ancestor. Within the sacred land, the strong were as common as the clouds. Very often, there would be a warrior who had gained the recognition of the origin laws. The special scenes of the origin laws descending would appear. The cultivators in the Holy Land were already used to this, but this time, the special scene appeared in the Holy Tablet Pagoda. Moreover, many people knew that the human domain master genius was comprehending alone in the Saint Tablet Tower. The human genius has gained the recognition of the origin laws? So fast. Domain Lord level 9 and he's able to gain the recognition of the origin laws. Looks like in terms of the gold origin laws, He's already reached an extremely high level. Powerful. Many cultivators in the sacred land looked up at the towering golden pagoda. Within the tower, Luo Feng stood silently before the majestic pale green tablet. His eyes were focused on the demon-roaring picture on the tablet. Rumble, the space around him slightly trembled. A golden water droplet appeared above Luo Feng's head and fell. Drip. The golden water droplet landed on his head. Seeing Luo Feng's body as nothing, it seeped in and landed on the core. As though it pierced through nothing, it pierced through the core. Finally, the golden water droplet landed on the origin orb. The origin orb was the fusion of the Domain Lord's soul crystal and genetic energy crystal, Luo Feng's energy core, and also the soul core. Chi easily, the golden water droplet was completely absorbed by the origin orb. This orb had an additional gold color. At this time, Luo Feng had officially gained the recognition of the gold origin laws. A golden blade mark slowly appeared on Luo Feng's forehead. This mark had a heart-palpitating ripple of origin laws. This was a sign of one gaining the recognition of the origin laws. Simultaneously, an even bigger golden blade mark appeared on the golden horned beast's forehead. I didn't expect my gold origin law comprehension level to have already reached the level where the origin laws have recognized me. Luo Feng revealed a smile. I've already gained the recognition of the origin laws. Then, my consciousness should be able to enter the origin law ocean. The universe origin laws were extremely mysterious. After reaching Sector Lord level, due to the world energy, Luo Feng's consciousness was able to merge with the boundless land. And when a drop of origin law water merged with his soul, it caused his soul consciousness to undergo a transformation. At this time, Luo Feng felt a soul-shaking calling. Almost like a mother calling her child. So, Luo Feng split half of his consciousness and swiftly left the boundless land. He was immediately attracted by the calling. Rumble, a golden ocean, boundless and endless. This was the origin of the gold laws, the entire primal universe's gold laws. Endless amounts of origin law energy permeated the entire ocean. The powerful pressure far exceeded any warrior Luo Feng had ever met. Luckily, Luo Feng had already gained the recognition of the origin law ocean, merging with a drop of water. Rumble, the waves surged and rumbled, endless and endless. Luo Feng's consciousness merged with a drop of water and floated along with the ocean, constantly searching and comprehending the gold laws. A portion of his consciousness merged with the boundless land, another portion within the gold origin law ocean, and the last portion studying the Saint Tablet before him. My consciousness has gained the recognition of the gold origin laws. My current comprehension speed isn't any slower than the space laws. Luo Feng looked at the Saint Tablet before him. He was filled with glee within. Gaining the recognition of the origin laws meant that his comprehension of the origin laws had already reached a very high level. 20 days of study. The Sector Lord level's efficiency is hundreds of times higher than the Domain Lord levels. Plus the effect of studying the Saint Tablet, 1 day is equivalent to 100 years of study for a Domain Lord. 20 days and I'm close to 2,000 years of study for a Domain Lord. Luo Feng exclaimed. He could only exclaim at the huge difference between Sector Lord and Domain Lord. In the Virtual Universe Company, the competition for the Sector Lord members of the Primal Region was the most intense. Generation after generation of genius battles, hero battles, as well as the selection of the human elites in the entire universe, etc. Over 10 million years of elites were gathered at the Sector Lord level. However, there were only 100 of them, and they were all Sector Lord level in the Primal Region. No wonder they all value Sector Lord geniuses. A Sector Lord's 1 day of study is equivalent to a Domain Lord's 1 year. Sector Lords study for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. How can the Domain Lord geniuses compare? Luo Feng thought. This Saint tablet is coincidentally related to space and gold. It's extremely beneficial to me. Luo Feng stared at the Saint tablet before him. There's less than 10 days left, I can't waste it. Gaining the recognition of the origin laws only distracted Luo Feng for 1 to 2 minutes, after which he continued to study. Chapter 669. In the blink of an eye, 30 days had passed. Human, your study time is up, you can come out. The Protector's low and powerful voice resounded in Luo Feng's ears and mind, immediately waking him up. Luo Feng's consciousness swiftly left the universe origin grounds and origin law ocean, as well as the demon roaring picture on the sacred tablet. Who? Luo Feng looked reluctantly at the majestic pale green tablet. It's a pity it's only a month. This tablet's effect on me is even better than the 9-universe tablet. Luo Feng sighed within. The first 7 pictures of the 9-universe tablet were all space laws, hence studying the 9-universe tablet wasn't much of a help to the gold laws, at least it was far from this tablet. Luo Feng turned and left, following the exit. The guardian of the Holy Monument Tower, who was wearing black armor and standing there like a statue, had a 3-meter-tall giant saber stabbed into the ground next to him. An invisible pressure covered the entire area, pressuring every member of the Golden Horn clan who entered the Holy Monument Tower. Rumble, the tall door slowly opened, light from outside shone in. Luo Feng walked out alone. Your Majesty! Your Majesty Luo Feng. Outside the door stood Dylan, the 5 sector Lord Guards, Si Fan Chi and Kashna. Luo Feng smiled and nodded to his people, however his expression changed, as there was another large group of Golden Horn clan youths gathered outside the tower. They were like red-eyed calves, all staring hard at Luo Feng. Human Luo Feng, I challenge you. Human, accept my challenge. If you are a warrior, accept my challenge. Various voices could be heard. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows and walked over to Dylan, Elder Si Fan Chi and the others, communicating, Let's first return to our training quarters, Elder Si Fan Chi. I'll have to rely on you to deal with this group of crazy clansmen. After which, Luo Feng brought Dylan and the others and swiftly left the tower. It was indeed a mess. Training quarters. Luo Feng and the others pushed open the door and entered. As they walked, Luo Feng said, Dylan, I'm preparing to sort through this month's study of the tablet, after which I'll head to the secret manual tower to choose. After saying that, Luo Feng chose a study room to study. Your Highness is truly diligent in your cultivation. Seeing this, Dylan shook his head and smiled. Yeah, when I hadn't reached the immortal realm, I was also this hard-working. After reaching the undying realm, one would obtain eternal life and no longer have to worry about the limit of lifespan. Along with the fact that it was extremely hard for undyings to improve, the slow improvement and limitless lifespan made undyings not so hard-working. Luo Feng sat crossed-legged in the meditation room, closing his eyes and pondering over the mysteries he hadn't fully comprehended from the Saint Tablet, carefully pondering over them. Unknowingly, half a month had passed. Luo Feng opened his eyes and revealed a smile. I've comprehended everything on the Saint Tablet. Comprehending the Saint Monument for 30 days would be equivalent to a sector lord who had cultivated for 8 years and a domain lord who had cultivated for close to 3,000 years. And it hasn't even been 300 years since Luo Feng was born. He had improved tremendously in these 30 days. However, the difficulty of the 9-universe tablet's 9 pictures rose exponentially. Even though he had comprehended the raindrop picture and drizzle picture before, the raindrop picture had a total of 36 drops. However, the rainstorm picture had another 72 drops that were more than 100 times harder. Even after 30 days of study, it only allowed Luo Feng's origin law comprehension to roughly surpass the Heavenly Bridge's 9th level. Comprehending the 108 drop. Normal warriors only needed to comprehend it. That was equivalent to getting 100 points in the exam. And comprehending the essence was equivalent to answering all the additional questions correctly, getting 150 points. Even though it was just slightly more profound, the difficulty was raised by 10 to 100 times. This was also the reason why Tru Yen was worried about Luo Feng's ability when he asked him to study floating blood. Because comprehending the essence, the requirement for origin law comprehension was simply too high. 30 days. That was equivalent to a domain lord's 3,000 years of training, allowing Luo Feng to completely understand the third rainstorm picture. This meant that he could get 100 points in the even more profound 72 drops. Comprehending the third picture meant that Luo Feng already had enough origin law comprehension to pass the 9th level of the Heavenly Bridge. From the peak of the 7th level to the 9th, I've only used 30 days, and I've finally comprehended the rainstorm picture. Normally when warriors train, in theory, they should be on to the next picture, the 4th picture. It's a pity I can't. I have to comprehend the most profound 72 space essences. Luo Feng studied for 30 days and realized how difficult it was to comprehend the 72 essences. The first 9 were the easiest. He had comprehended them back in Primal Chaos City. The middle 27 were much harder. Through the fortuitous encounters in Blood River World, Luo Feng's comprehension speed soared. With the Beast God statue's long-term observation, along with Tianshi Palace leaders' pointers, he finally comprehended them all. The last 72 were the hardest. Luo Feng had accepted the impossible level mission and trained on Earth for 50 years. Now he was training in the Saint Tablet Tower for 30 days, equivalent to a domain lord's 3,000 years. Under such circumstances, Luo Feng had only reached 100 points in the rainstorm picture. However, he hadn't even comprehended a single one of the 72 essences. Difficult. Incredibly difficult. Normal absolute geniuses, even if they spent 1,000 eras of their entire lifespan at Sector Lord level, they wouldn't be able to comprehend all 108 essences of the space laws. Only the true absolute geniuses at the pinnacle of the universe had the right to waste large amounts of time. Back then, the pinnacle genius, Lian Luo, when he was a Sector Lord, spent 3,000 years in Primal Chaos City to comprehend them all. Of course, in terms of talent, with the golden horned beast powered by Blood River energy and the space darling Masha clansman, he probably surpassed the pinnacle genius of the universe humanity, Lian Luo. Especially with Luo Feng's beast god statue. He could use it to study the first claw at any time. Luo Feng walked out of the study. Immediately a few silhouettes flashed past. Dylan, the 5 Sector Lords, Elder Si Fan Chi and Kashna all appeared. Your Majesty, have you finished studying? Dylan smiled as he walked over. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Congratulations, Your Majesty Luo Feng. How was your study of the Saint Tablet? Elder Si Fan Chi looked at Luo Feng. Not bad. Luo Feng complimented. Not bad indeed. Right now, just in terms of origin law comprehension, he had already reached the 9th level of the Heavenly Bridge. The moment Luo Feng fully unleashed his spirit energy amplitude, reaching over 3,200, it would raise his strength by 10 times. If he really tried the 9-universe Heavenly Bridge, he could definitely pass the 10th level. Just in terms of origin law comprehension, he was already at the 9th level. His battle strength was already enough to pass the 10th level. The demon note inheritance is indeed very beneficial to me. Luo Feng complimented within. However, my improvement is too shocking. It's not too suitable for me to attempt the Heavenly Bridge now. As long as he was happy with his improvement, it was enough. There was no need to be cocky about attempting the Heavenly Bridge. After all, there weren't any special benefits to attempting it now. If there were no benefits, it would at most make him stand out. Luo Feng wouldn't do it. Let's go, we'll head to the secret manual tower. Luo Feng said. In the secret tome tower, there are countless trial books of the entire Golden Horn clan. Many of them are unique and unconventional. Even our human treasure trove might not have them. Dylan smiled. Your Majesty must choose seriously. Of course. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Wasn't that right? In the Virtual Universe Company, to train a manual, one needed a huge amount of points to exchange. A normal manual would cost over 10,000 points. Some of the more valuable manuals cost millions to tens of millions. And some of the more expensive super manuals, even Luo Feng's teacher True Yen Emperor could only stare dumbfounded. I have to choose an expensive manual from the expensive ones, Luo Feng thought. The more expensive it was, the more valuable it was. There was no doubt about that. From the expensive ones, he would choose what suited him. After a while, Luo Feng and his group followed the sacred land streets and arrived before the majestic white pagoda. The entire pagoda's height was similar to the Saint Tablet Tower, however it was completely white. The entire pagoda emitted an energy that calmed one's heart. Getting close to the pagoda, one's entire soul felt unprecedentedly calm. Luo Feng and his group followed the stairs and entered the pagoda's entrance, arriving at the first level. This first level is the reception level. Elder Si Fanqi explained beside. Your Majesty Luo Feng. A sharp voice resounded. A tall and skinny female Golden Horn race member dressed in light green armor walked over, making Luo Feng feel as though she was an absolute beauty. Due to the Golden Horn race's life structure, their skin and human skin were very different. The female's lips curled up. Your Majesty Luo Feng, my name is Zeus. I'm one of the receptionists of the pagoda. We've long received orders from the Chief Elder Palace that Your Majesty Luo Feng can choose any of the books within this tower. As long as you choose, we'll give the entire book to you. I'll explain the entire process to you, allowing you to save time. After all, the manuals here are simply too huge. The entire pagoda has a total of 999 levels. Every level has millions of manuals. Then I'll be troubling Miss Zeus, Luo Feng said. Your Majesty Luo Feng will rest here and wait. There's no need to rush. Choose carefully, this opportunity is hard to come by. Elder Si Fanqi said. Luo Feng nodded. Let's go. Luo Feng looked at the female Golden Horn race member Zeus. I'll lead the way. Zeus walked beside Luo Feng, leading the way. Following the stairs, they swiftly ascended to the second level. Luo Feng took a deep cold breath. The second level was extremely huge. The height was close to 100 m. Bookshelves were scattered all around. On the bookshelves were books. Even though they were laid flat, due to the sheer size of the space, the bookshelves were at least 70 m tall. Hence, there were simply too many books. The entire second level definitely had over 1 million manuals. Every level has so many, 999 levels? Luo Feng sighed. The number of manuals for a race is indeed ridiculous. Luo Feng's gaze swept across. He discovered that every manual had a price beside it. For example, some manuals were worth 120 contribution points. Some were worth 388. Your Majesty Luo Feng. The female Golden Horn clansman, Zeus, explained, the secret techniques on the 999th floor of the secret cannon tower are distributed according to the number of contribution points. The most expensive secret technique on the first floor only costs 612 contribution points, and the cheapest one on the second level costs 612 contribution points. The higher you go, the more expensive it gets. How expensive is the 999th level? Luo Feng asked. The cheapest one on the 999th level costs about 98 million contribution points. The most expensive one costs about 1.6 billion contribution points. Zeus said. Of course, Your Majesty Luo Feng can choose any one of them for free. After finishing the third chapter, I'll ask for a monthly ticket. If you have a monthly ticket, please support Tomato. Chapter 670. The female Golden Horn race member Seth's words were filled with unconcealable envy. Then let's head to the 999th level. Luo Feng smiled. Yes. Zeus, the female Golden Horn clan member, muttered inwardly. Just as she had expected. Luo Feng brought the female Golden Horn clansmen Zeus up the stairs. The higher they went, the lesser the number of Golden Horn clansmen they could see on each level. After reaching the 800th level and above, there would often be a level with only one attendant, with no Golden Horn clansmen coming to choose their manuals. Seth said, "Our Golden Horn clan's management is strict. To enter each level of the tower, there's a strict limit of contribution points. Without enough contribution points, one doesn't even have the right to enter the higher levels. For example, to enter the 999th level, one's contribution points have to reach that level's cheapest manual, which is about 98 million contribution points. Only Your Majesty, because you can choose any manual for free, there's no requirement." Luo Feng smiled. Contribution points? He didn't have any contribution points at all. How does your Golden Horn clan calculate the contribution points? Luo Feng asked as he walked up the stairs. There are many sources of contribution points, like giving birth to a child for the clan, raising one's strength, reaching the Domain Lord level, Sector Lord level, and even breaking through to the Undying level, all have contribution points as rewards. There's also joining the army to participate in wars for humanity and earn some points, which can be exchanged for contribution points. Anyway, as long as you contribute to our Golden Horn clan, you'll get contribution points. The female Golden Horn clansman Zeus said, "Contribution points are very useful. They can be used to buy secret techniques, weapons, treasures, and even a large number of guard. In short, many things that can't be bought with money can be bought with contribution points." Luo Feng was shocked within. The Golden Horn clan as a vassal clan had a strong sense of danger. The importance of contribution points had already risen to a terrifying level. Even giving birth required contribution points. And under such measures, a clan's cohesiveness would be extremely shocking. The energy they could unleash would be extremely terrifying. From the fact that so many Golden Horn clan youths wanted to challenge him, it was obvious. Unknowingly, they had already reached the 999th level. There was another guard at the entrance of the 999th level. His main job was to ensure that those choosing manuals had enough contribution points, and also to ensure that no clansman dared to damage the manuals. "Human, Your Majesty Luo Feng." The old man at the entrance slightly bowed. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. This old man was already an Undying, and was also the strongest of the members in charge of guarding the pagoda. "Human, Your Majesty Luo Feng." The old man pointed at the bookshelves around him and said, "The 999th floor is the highest floor of the entire Secret Codex Tower. The most precious Secret Codex trial books are gathered here. There are a total of 128,120 Secret Codex trial books placed on the 999th floor. Your Highness can read and choose at will." "Yes." Luo Feng walked in front of the tall bookshelves. Beside him, the female Golden Horn race member Zeus said, "Your Majesty Luo Feng, the manuals are arranged from the entrance of this staircase. The further in you go, the more contribution points you need to exchange for them. The one in the corner at the top is the most expensive manual in the entire 999th floor." Saying that, she pointed to the top right in front of her. Luo Feng smiled, after which his entire being floated in mid-air and flew over. The bookshelves ranged from 60–90 m in height. The secret manuals placed on them were more spacious, at least much more spacious than the ones Luo Feng saw on the second and third levels. After all, there were only around 130,000 manuals on this level. Luo Feng passed through the bookshelves one after another, finally flying to the top of the bookshelf in the left corner. Luo Feng glanced over. The secret tomes on this bookshelf were obviously much more expensive. There were only 3 secret tomes on this 80 m tall bookshelf. It could be said to be the least of all the bookshelves. The price tag next to the 3 secret tomes was 168,000,000. The one below was 162,000,000, and the one below was 160,000,000. They were all priced at 1.6 billion. Luo Feng floated at the top of the bookshelf, immediately picking up the highest-priced manual. The entire book seemed to be made out of a special metal. A secret tome made of F-grade metal? That's extravagant. Luo Feng was shocked, after which he shook his head and smiled. Right, the secret pagoda is an important place for the Golden Horn clan to pass down their knowledge. These manuals need to be passed down for trillions of years. Normal materials will definitely decay after a long time. Using F-grade metal isn't weird. Anyway, one UNMO planet ship's hybrid copper essence is enough to create countless manuals. To the Golden Horn clan, it's indeed nothing. He picked up this 2-ton metal book. On it was a name, Golden Soul. What's this? Normally, the pinnacle manuals would describe space or time, etc. A manual that only describes the gold laws shouldn't be that powerful. Luo Feng muttered within. Because comprehending the gold laws would only make one a normal undying. However, comprehending the space laws or time laws, one could immediately become a high and mighty knight of the universe. Just like the 9-universe heavenly bridge required one to pass the 21st level, only then would one have comprehended the space laws. And if one didn't comprehend space or time, and only comprehended the gold and wood laws, etc., even if one became an undying, he would only have the strength of the heavenly bridge's 10th level. Of course, just comprehending metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, lightning, light, it was extremely easy at the start. However, the final step was extremely difficult. This was also the reason why so many sector lords were unable to become undying. This was also the reason why Time Sector Lord Luo, despite having over 20,000 years of lifespan, didn't have the slightest confidence in taking the final step and becoming undying. The last step was extremely difficult. However, just obtaining the recognition of the gold origin laws was much easier. On the contrary, as one had to pass the 21st level to be considered to have comprehended the space laws, to obtain the recognition of the space laws, was thousands to tens of thousands of times harder than comprehending the entire gold laws. To obtain the recognition of the origin laws, one had to completely comprehend one aspect of the laws to the limit. For example, teleportation? Anyway, obtaining the recognition of the space laws was an incredibly difficult thing. Golden Soul. Luo Feng flipped open the book and began to read. The Golden Soul was created by a great elder in the history of the Golden Horn tribe, Colophon. It mainly started with the law of gold and delved deep into the law of space. Combining the two, it created the extremely frightening Golden Soul. This was a set of pure fighting secret techniques. It wasn't meant to be enlightened. Just like the black hole evolution in the human treasure trove, that was also a battle technique. Battle-type secret arts were purely for explaining how to fight stronger. And the time-space scribbles that Luo Feng exchanged for was something that helped one better comprehend the origin laws, helping one to understand the 9-universe tablet. It belonged to 2 different styles. One belonged to the research category, while the other belonged to the battle category. Which was better? The benevolent see benevolence, the wise see wisdom. The battle techniques could raise one's battle strength. The research type could allow one to quickly raise one's comprehension of the origin laws, and this was after all the foundation. Golden Soul's battle techniques, from low to high, were split into 72 types. The first battle technique, the 35th battle technique, belonged to those below the level of undying could use it. The 36th to the 70th technique belonged to undying. Those below the universe knight level could use it. The 71st and 72nd could only be used by a universe knight. If one can comprehend the 35th level at sector lord level, one can completely kill normal undyings? Comparable to an official level undying? Luo Feng looked at the explanation and couldn't help but take a deep cold breath. This power was indeed terrifying. The Nanshin armament's 9th level was only comparable to a normal undying at its peak. And this was a complete battle technique. It could be used all the way to the universe night level. Right now I have the Beast God statue and the time-space scribbles. However, these are all for research purposes to help me comprehend the origin laws. I don't have any true battle techniques, Luo Feng thought. And as a Sector Lord Pinnacle, I should create a suitable technique for myself. Naturally, I have to create a battle technique too. However, before I create it, learning a pinnacle battle technique will also help broaden my horizons. This is one of the choices. Luo Feng casually picked up the metallic book in his hand and continued to read other books. Luo Feng wasn't in a rush to decide which book to pick. Instead, he swiftly read through them one by one, confirming which suited him and finally choosing the best. Luo Feng stood before a row of bookshelves. A formless spirit energy spread out and simultaneously flipped through thousands of manuals. The many books were flipped open and read at the same time. Shua. He finished reading a few thousand. Luo Feng used his spirit energy to close all the books and continued to read the thousands of manuals below. The Golden Horn Lady Zeus couldn't help but grit her teeth. This human majesty Luo Feng is simply too ruthless. Who would choose manuals like that? Flipping through thousands of manuals at once, that was too arrogant. Not long later, Luo Feng hugged the 3 books and walked to the edge of the 999th level, where there were chairs. He sat on one and placed the 3 books there. Your Majesty Luo Feng. The Golden Horn Lady Zeus walked over and smiled. Have you chosen? Her gaze swept, and the first book was Golden Soul. She couldn't help but grit her teeth. Choosing the most expensive one, this human majesty was simply, "It's about time, I'll choose from these 3. Luo Feng smiled and said. Simultaneously, he looked at the 3 manuals. These 3 books all had names engraved on them. They were Golden Soul, 36 Levels of Nascent God, and Herodo's Sayings. The prices were respectively 1.68 billion contribution points, 910 million and 100 million contribution points. All 3 have their own benefit. Which one should I choose? If only I could choose all 3. Luo Feng had such a thought. After which he shook his head and laughed. He was simply too greedy. His monthly votes were being chased. Danger. Brothers and sisters with monthly votes, please support Tomato. Tomato needs everyone's support. Chapter 671. The 3 manuals all had different prices. Golden Soul was a battle-type technique. Its power was extremely strong. 36 Levels of the God was created by the Golden Horn race's greatest senior elder Herodo. It could be said that the Nanshin armament was a simplified version of the 36 Levels of the God. 36 Levels of the God was a battle-type technique. At the same time, it could be said to be a research-type technique, studying the fusion of space and gold. This technique had a total of 36 levels. The weakest first level, as long as one had some comprehension of the space and gold laws, they could use it. The strongest 36th level had roughly the strength of an official level undying. Overall, the attack power of the 36 levels of the God was very average. The strongest 36th level had extremely high requirements, and it was only comparable to an official level undying. For such a level of manual, even if it was for battle and research, it was extremely beneficial to the weak. However, its price wasn't very high. A normal price of 100 million contribution points was already not bad. However, because it was created by Herodo, hence it was priced at 910 million. Herodo's sayings. After Herodo's disappearance, the undying disciples under him had recorded down all the teachings and sayings of their teacher back then. The entire sayings were very rich, with many explanations. At the same time, there were many examples of technique. Because it was compiled and not a secret manual left behind by Herodo himself, this sayings of Herodo was at most used as a reference for cultivation. It was a supplementary secret manual, and even with Hiroto's relationship, the price was a round number. 100 million contribution points. Which should I choose? Without a doubt, Golden Soul is the absolute strongest battle technique of the three. There are a total of 72 types, even the night-level techniques are included. Luo Feng thought, the 36 levels of the god is very beneficial to my training, as well as creating my own spirit weapon in the future. According to Hiroto's own introduction, this 36 levels of the god is the most solid foundation of his school. Of course its battle strength is obviously much weaker, it's just a strengthened version of the Nanshin armament, its power is only comparable to an official level. It's at least 2 grades lower than Golden Soul. Hiroto's sayings is beneficial to training, however it doesn't have a system of battle technique. However, many of them were personally taught by Hiroto back then. The effects definitely won't be bad, just that it's not a system. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. All three had their strengths and weaknesses. Which one should I choose? Golden Soul is a series of combat secret arts that can be cultivated to the highest level, while Hiroto is purely supportive. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows as he pondered. The 36 levels of the evolved god has both, only its strongest attack is only comparable to an official. It's obviously the basics of the basics. If only I could get the complete manual Hiroto created, that would be great. Hiroto had a secret codex that he had created. It was very complicated and profound. Unfortunately, the secret canon pagoda did not have this set of absolute art. There was only the basic chapter of this set of absolute art, the 36 levels of nascent god. Yes, I've decided. Luo Feng suddenly stood up. The Golden Horn Lady Seth, who had been standing obediently beside, was shocked. Your Majesty Luo Feng, you've already chosen? Shem, this one. Luo Feng picked up the one in the center. 36 levels of the evolved god? The Golden Horn Lady Seth was slightly shocked, glancing suspiciously at Luo Feng. She had thought that this human genius would choose the most expensive Golden Soul. Your Majesty Luo Feng, I'll report the news of you choosing the 36 levels of the evolved god. You can head to the first level of the pagoda and wait. I believe the manuals will be sent over very soon. All right. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Following the stairs down, he floated like the wind. 10 birds in the forest are not as good as 1 bird in the hand. Luo Feng thought, even though the Golden Soul is powerful, able to have techniques that even a Universe Knight can unleash. However, a Universe Knight? How long would it take for me to train to a Universe Knight? How many years would that take? Once I reach that level, with my power and vision, I'll be able to buy even better techniques from the Virtual Universe Company. This evolved god 36 levels is after all the foundational manual of Hiroto's absolute art. Back then he created this powerful foundational manual, after which, he simplified it and created the Nanshin armament. The Nanshin armament can be spread throughout the universe, allowing many races to use it. And Hiroto is the greatest being in the Golden Horn race. The foundation volume of his unique skill should be the best foundation volume among all the secret cultivation books of the Golden Horn clan. Even though it's weak. But to me, it's even better than the Golden Soul. 10 birds in the forest are not as good as 1 bird in the hand. What you can't see is ultimately unrealistic. The Golden Soul had a total of 72 techniques. From the 36th onwards, only Undyings could unleash them. And he had chosen the hardest path of the Golden Horned Beast. To become an Undying was extremely difficult. Once I become an Undying, I'll naturally have better technique. Hence the Golden Soul to me, only the first 35 techniques are effective, and these 35 naturally can't compare to the evolved god 36 levels. Their attacks may be similar, however in terms of research and creating spirit weapons, they're far from it. When Luo Feng was choosing his techniques in the tower, Sacred City, within the Chief Elder Palace, Within the dark palace, Humble sat there quietly, his eyes gloomy, almost like a volcano about to erupt. The surrounding space seemed to have frozen. "My beloved brother, after being defeated by that human genius, have you completely given up?" A purple-armored black-skinned youth walked in. His looks were very similar to Humble, only his aura was different. Humble was the violent type, while this black-skinned youth's eyes were cold. His entire being was proud and aloof. Only occasionally when his eyes moved, a sense of killing intent could be felt. "Big brother." Humble stood up, his gaze complicated. He lowered his head. "I've lost. I've lost in front of 1,000,000,000 sacred city clansmen. Losing this battle is nothing, however, if you really continue to give up like this, then teacher will be very disappointed," the purple-armored youth said coldly. "Teacher?" Humble was stunned. Even though they belonged to the chief elder palace. However, their teacher wasn't a senior elder himself. What kind of status did a senior elder have? At most he would occasionally give pointers to geniuses. To get a senior elder to accept a disciple? Extremely difficult, extremely difficult. "Pull yourself together," the purple-armored youth said softly. "You've lost, this big brother will just have to act and defeat him." Humble's eyes gleamed, nodding. "Big brother, if you act, you'll definitely be able to defeat him. His strength is only slightly stronger than mine. He's far from being your match." Humble nodded. Suddenly a silhouette rushed in from outside. Seeing Humble and Humble, this pair of genius brothers, that silhouette stopped. It was a god palace guard. He bowed respectfully. "Leader Humble, we've already received news that human genius Luo Feng has left his residence and entered the secret pagoda. I estimate it won't be long before he comes out." Humble's eyes gleamed, saying softly, "My chance is here." So, Humble became a blur and swiftly left. "Big brother." The younger brother guessed what his big brother wanted to do. His heart couldn't help but blaze, immediately shouting and becoming a blur and rushing out. Within the first level of the secret pagoda, Luo Feng, Elder Si Fanqi, Kashna, Dylan and the 5 human sector lords sat in a corner to rest. Rumble, a strong pressure emanated, a group of blurry silhouettes appeared in the hall, condensing. It was the 12 golden horn undyings. "Your Majesty Luo Feng, they're here to deliver the manual," Elder Si Fanqi said softly. Luo Feng smiled as he stood up and walked over. The 12 golden horn undyings emitted their auras. The leader was a green-skinned lady with an aura no weaker than Elder Si Fanqi. She said hoarsely, "Human Your Majesty Luo Feng, we're under the orders of the elders to deliver this manual. We hope you can read it here. After you're done, you can pass it to us. At the same time, we hope that after you leave our Laseo world, you won't spread this." "That's for sure." Luo Feng nodded. The green-skinned woman flipped her hand and a thick 30 centimeters thick metal book that looked like a chest appeared. That metal book immediately floated up and flew out of her palm, finally floating in front of Luo Feng. Luo Feng nodded and received the book. 36 Levels of Evolved God. The cover had a clear name. Luo Feng immediately flipped it open and began to read. This manual was the foundational part of Hiroto's absolute art. Even though it was only the foundational part, it allowed Luo Feng to feel the absolute being's endless wisdom. It's actually like this. Back then, when Hiroto created the Nanshin armament, he actually created it this way. So creating a technique that's suitable for oneself can be done with such a special method. Unbelievable, it's so easy. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed as he read, his face flushed red. This was the first time he saw a space and gold path spirit reader absolute art in such a long time. From every bit of the absolute art, Luo Feng could feel the absolute being's endless wisdom. That high and mighty casual writing already pointed to the essence. Just like the creator of the 9-universe tablet, when he wrote the time-space scribbles, he could easily create hundreds and thousands of techniques to interpret any picture. It's too worth it. A set of secret battle techniques that can be used by a universe supremacy is only worth 1.6 billion contribution points. And this foundational part is sold for 910 million contribution points. Looks like it's not just because of Hiroto's name. This foundational part is indeed a surprise. If I had the entire set, it would definitely be worth up to 10 billion or even 100 billion contribution points. Luo Feng thought, right, the entire Golden Horn race's core manuals. If I were the race manager, I wouldn't leave them in the tower. I would still need some trump cards. Hiroto's complete set of absolute arts should have been kept. Luo Feng was getting more and more excited as he read. It was worth it, it was too worth it. He flipped to the last page in one breath. On the last page there was only one paragraph. Spirit Reader Master's greatest advantage is being able to control as many spirit weapons as possible, hence the higher the spirit energy amplifier the better. If you don't have a spirit energy amplifier of 300 at the pinnacle of the Sector Lord realm, then give up on the Spirit Reader path. Give up on this manual of mine, it doesn't suit you. You're not suitable to become a true spirit reader either. Chapter 672. Luo Feng closed the book, his eyes filled with a hard-to-hide glee. His teacher, Tru Yen, was a super strong man, but compared to Hiroto, the greatest leader in the history of the Golden Horn clan, Tru Yen was much weaker. And Tru Yen walked the path of a fighter, and didn't specialize in space or gold. Hence when Luo Feng read Hiroto's foundational manual, he immediately felt enlightened, as though a whole new world had opened up before him. He had never thought that a spirit reader could train like this. He had never thought that a spirit weapon could be created like this. He had never thought that techniques could be created like this. This is what a spirit reader should do. This is what a true spirit reader should do. Luo Feng praised. My spirit energy amplitude is over 3,200. Many Emperor-level undyings can't match up to me. According to Senior Hiroto, the most important aspect of a spirit reader is spirit energy amplitude. His foundational manual too has a high requirement for spirit energy amplitude. Foundational manual 36 levels. What he controlled were ordinary blades or small swords without any nomological runes. It was very normal for him to control thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of blades at once. Therefore, the higher his psyche power amplitude, the better. It tested his control, nomological comprehension, mystic technique creation, and many other aspects. Babata, Nanshin armament 36 levels, you too memorize it. Luo Feng's consciousness connected to Babata, large amounts of words and information swiftly exchanged. With a consciousness calculation speed comparable to a quantum computer, in an instant, Babata obtained a complete manual. Secret Manual Tower. Luo Feng controlled the golden book in his hand, flying it to the group of 12 undyings. Your Majesty, are you sure you've memorized everything? The green-skinned female undying said hoarsely. Luo Feng nodded. The 12 undyings nodded to Luo Feng, after which they all became blurs and vanished. Let's go. Luo Feng turned and said. Your Majesty seems to be very happy. Dylan walked beside him. My rewards are huge. Luo Feng smiled. Beside, the Emperor-level undying Fan Qi was elated. Whether it was studying the tablet or a manual, they were both extremely valuable. However, the Golden Horn tribe allowed Luo Feng to obtain it for free. This was basically an investment. The greater Luo Feng's gains, the higher Luo Feng's position in the human race in the future, he would naturally remember this favor. If Luo Feng was an ungrateful wretch who didn't remember his kindness after getting some benefits, the Golden Horn clan couldn't do anything about it. It was purely an investment. The main entrance of the secret scripture tower was always open. Luo Feng and the group headed out. It's the crazy young men of the Golden Horn clan again. Luo Feng looked at the group of Domain Lord Level 9 youths gathered outside the tower and was shocked. That's weird, why aren't they challenging me anymore? Usually, when these crazy young men of the Golden Horn clan see me, They all challenge me crazily, don't they? What? The thousands of Region Lord Realm youths gathered outside the secret Codex Pagoda suddenly parted, revealing two black-skinned youths. Beitu. Luo Feng recognized one of them immediately, following which his gaze landed on the other black-skinned youth beside Beitu. This black-skinned youth had a very natural arrogance about him, similar to Bolin. Normal, invincible, absolute geniuses all had this sort of aura. The other Golden Horn clan member beside him looks very similar to Beitu. Is that his brother from the legends, the big brother of the Beitu brothers, Beitu? Your Majesty Luo Feng, that is Beitu. Elder Si Fanqi communicated. Beitu was dressed in purple armor. His eyes were cold as he examined Luo Feng, who was standing on the stairs of the secret scripture tower. His voice was filled with killing intent. Human Luo Feng, I heard you defeated my brother Beitu. You indeed have some strength. I, Beitu, today in front of the secret scripture tower, formally challenge you. I wonder if you dare to accept my challenge? The thousands of Golden Horn clan youths all stared at Luo Feng. Beitu's eyes were filled with killing intent and arrogance. Luo Feng glanced at him. Let's go, Luo Feng said, after which, he avoided the thousands of youths and headed into the distance. This caused Elder Si Fanqi, Dylan and the others to be shocked. The thousands of youths were even more stunned. The human Luo Feng actually avoided the battle? It was normal that the human didn't want to fight them. However, Beitu, he was the #1 domain lord-level genius of the Golden Horn clan. Even if Luo Feng didn't dare to fight, he should at least give him some face. Human Luo Feng. Beitu's eyes gleamed coldly as he roared fiercely. Luo Feng, however, continued to walk into the distance, not stopping at all. What, you don't dare? Afraid? Beitu roared furiously. Defeating my brother, that's nothing. If you defeat me, I dare say that none of the domain Lord Level 9 members of the Golden Horn clan will ever challenge you again. And if you don't accept my challenge, then the Golden Horn clan will never respect you. Luo Feng brought Dylan and the others along the street. He couldn't be bothered with Beitu's roars. Your Majesty? Dylan looked curiously at Luo Feng. I don't wish to fight him. Luo Feng shook his head. It's fine for you to reject the other Golden Horn clan members before. However, you rejected this Beitu. He is after all the most exceptional domain lord level of the Golden Horn clan. If you don't defeat him, then the countless members of the Golden Horn clan will never respect you. They will definitely say that you bully the weak and fear the strong. Dylan communicated. Of course, if your Majesty doesn't have any confidence and accepts the challenge, you will probably lose. Indeed, it's better not to accept. Dylan, what nonsense are you thinking? Luo Feng laughed involuntarily. Yes. Those familiar with his background and growth would all think that he wasn't Beitu's match. However, in truth, after reaching Sector Lord level and studying in the Saint Tablet Pagoda for a month, just his normal origin law comprehension had already reached the Heavenly Bridge's 9th level. The moment his spirit energy amplifier of 3,200 was completely unleashed, coupled with his natural ability strengthening and the blood river energy, it would multiply. Defeating Beitu, Luo Feng had 100% confidence. However, the moment he did, then the Virtual Universe Company's information network would definitely know. And with Dylan's relationship with his teacher True Yen Emperor, his teacher would know too. Him defeating Beitu could still be explained by his identity as a blood warrior and some special encounters. However, to defeat Beitu, it would be troublesome to explain. Because of some special encounters, there are people whose strength explodes. Just like the geniuses in the history of the universe, which one of them didn't have any special encounters. If I were to reveal my strength again, I'm afraid the Virtual Universe Company would think that I had some special encounter. Luo Feng thought. Actually, that's right. I acquired the Demon Note inheritance in Demon Note Mountain and my spirit energy amplifier reached over 3,200, it was indeed a special encounter. In terms of origin law comprehension, he was only at the 9th level. His spirit energy amplifier of 3,200 was his greatest reliance on defeating Beitu. If I can't reveal myself, I shouldn't reveal myself. My demon note inheritance was originally unintentionally taken up Mist Emperor's slot. Luo Feng sighed. I'll stay low profile for now. After training for a few hundred years, even if my strength explodes, it won't attract too much attention. Luo Feng and the group returned to their training quarters. Dylan, Elder Si Fan Chi, I'll first meditate for a period of time and organize the manuals I've acquired. After that, we'll leave. Luo Feng said, following which he entered his study. The Saint Tablet had been studied and the manuals had been acquired. With the benefits in hand, of course he had to leave. Luo Feng sat cross-legged in his study, constantly recalling the detailed information of the 36 levels of the Evolver God 36 levels. Simultaneously, a thread of his consciousness entered the virtual universe network, entering his own training grounds in the primal region and beginning his training. Research, try, verify. Then, with the beast god statue and the ancient pictures, he would compare and comprehend them. Training a manual required one to first grasp the entire manual and think clearly on how to better study it. Only after that would one seriously train. As the saying goes, sharpening the knife won't delay the work of chopping wood. Luo Feng was currently studying the entire manual to sharpen his knife. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. The requirements are actually so high. Using a normal blade to attack is indeed extremely difficult. However, Senior Hiroto's unique training method, not only does it have the effect of studying the origin laws, it also has the effect of researching and creating weapons, it also has the effect of creating techniques and attacks. It's indeed very powerful. Luo Feng smiled and stood up. From now on, I'll study this manual from the angle of creating techniques. After which, Luo Feng opened the door of his study and walked out. This set of secret manuals had several cultivation routes. Any path could be trained to the highest level. As Luo Feng's spirit energy amplitude was extremely strong, he decided to study from the most difficult angle of creating technique. When Luo Feng walked into the courtyard, silhouettes immediately appeared. Elder Si Fan Chi. Luo Feng said directly. We'll leave immediately. First, we'll head to the Elder Palace to thank and bid farewell. This time, the palace has helped me greatly. It gave me the chance to study and even allowed me to pick any manual. I can't just leave without saying a word. Elder Si Fan Chi smiled and nodded. Before leaving the Saint City, I should make a trip to the Elder Palace. However, Your Majesty Luo Feng, there's something I should say. What's up? Luo Feng was curious. Elder Si Fan Chi looked at Dylan next to him. Dylan said with a smile, Your Highness, during the 3 months you have been cultivating in seclusion, many members of the Golden Horn clan have been living outside our residence. Apparently, Your Highness, your refusal of Bei Chio's challenge has made many fanatical members of the Golden Horn clan unhappy. Many? Luo Feng was shocked. He didn't feel it at all. In order not to disturb your training, I've isolated the sounds around your study. Dylan said. Thanks. Luo Feng nodded. Not only were there large amounts of Golden Horn clansmen, that genius called Bei Chio has been sitting cross-legged on the streets outside our training quarters these past 3 months. Dylan said. Luo Feng was shocked. He's been sitting on the streets, right outside the entrance of our quarters. For a whole 3 months, he hasn't moved at all. Dylan smiled bitterly. Hence, even now, there are still over 10,000 Golden Horn clansmen sitting cross-legged outside. Luo Feng was speechless. Let's go. Luo Feng said. Outside. Dylan and Elder Si Fan Chi looked at Luo Feng. No. Luo Feng shook his head. Ignore them. We'll fly straight to the Elder Palace. Chapter 673. The Sacred Land, Luo Feng's training quarters. The streets outside were completely blocked. Large amounts of Golden Horn clansmen sat cross-legged on the streets, and in front of Luo Feng's entrance sat the purple-armored black-skinned youth Bei Qiu. Bei Qiu closed his eyes and sat cross-legged. So. A beam of light suddenly flew out from the training quarters and swiftly flew into the distance. They flew away. The human Luo Feng is among them. They actually flew away. Over 10,000 Golden Horn clansmen quickly broke out into a commotion, simultaneously standing up and pointing at the distant horizon. Watching the beam of light disappear into the horizon, they couldn't help but be enraged. Bei Qiu, who was sitting crossed-legged, opened his eyes and watched coldly. His eyes seemed to be burning with flames as he muttered softly, "The human Luo Feng is extremely cowardly." Rumble. Bei Qiu became a beam of light and flew towards the Elder God Palace. His younger brother and a few other followers also followed. While Luo Feng was causing waves in the Golden Horn clan's sacred city of Laseo World, in the distant Savage Universe country territory, in a dark and silent space, there were no stars or planets, only interstellar dust that occasionally flew past. Within this space's corresponding space layer, a vast and majestic god country. The boundless golden land rose and fell, and there were many people living in the grasslands and forests. There were also many high-tech buildings, and many high-tech cities were built. Nearly 100 billion people were scattered in hundreds of cities, and there was a majestic statue of a god in each city. Countless people came to worship the god. The region where the humans lived was just a small part of the god country. About 30 million kilometers away from the human region, there was a mountain range that pierced through the cloud. The mountain range was over 1,000,000 km tall, and at the peak of this mountain range, there was a shrine that shone with a glaring golden light. The shrine was 100,000 kilometers tall. There were many silhouettes within. Obviously there were many people within. Within the shrine. Zhi. Howl. Many huge and different-looking bug clansman warriors walked within the shrine. Occasionally, one could even see a few golden bug clansmen, undying bug clansmen. Other than the insectoid warriors, there were also many humans in white robes, gold robes, and armor. These humans and the insectoid warriors often crossed paths, but they were all fine. At the highest level of the temple, the 10-kilometer-tall insectoid mother nest stood in the center of the highest level like a damaged meteorite. Large numbers of golden insectoid warriors gathered around it. At a glance, there were no less than 10,000. Master. The 3 golden-robed humans were surrounded by a large number of insectoid warriors, but they bowed respectfully. "Why did you call me?" A gentle voice that sounded like a peerless beauty whispering into his ear reverberated throughout the hall. "Master," the leading gold-robed man said respectfully, "one of the undyings in the Golden Horn clan's Lasso world has just sent news that the human genius Luo Feng is currently in the sacred city of Lasso world." "Number 9? The gentle voice asked. "Yes." The leading gold-robed man said respectfully, "There's one more thing I need to tell Master. Number 9 Luo Feng's improvement in strength is shocking. He publicly defeated the Golden Horn clan domain Lord Level 9 genius Bei Bing in the dojo outside the sacred city. That Bei Bing's origin law comprehension, according to the human classification, has the ability to pass the Heavenly Bridge's 9th level. And Luo Feng only barely had the ability to pass the 8th level on his first attempt." "Do you have a video?" the gentle voice asked. "That battle was a public battle. There are many videos. The undyings we've placed in the Golden Horn clan Lasso world have also sent a video." The gold-robed man pointed in mid-air. Immediately a projection appeared and on it, the entire battle between Luo Feng and Bei Bing was broadcasted. The battle was one-sided. Bei Bing completely suppressed Luo Feng. Finally, Luo Feng exploded and defeated Bei Bing. The viewing was over. The Human Virtual Universe Company, among the universe-level geniuses, there's only one that reached the 8th level. The gold-robed man said respectfully. And this Luo Feng, in a short few decades, at least in terms of origin law comprehension, he's already surpassed the strongest of the universe-level geniuses. According to this speed, in the Domain Lord qualification battles in a few hundred years, he'll probably still be able to enter the primal region. This improvement speed is simply too terrifying. In human history, only the most exceptional tens of thousands of eras, even hundreds of thousands of eras, would occasionally produce such an absolute genius. The gentle voice ordered, raise his rank him number 3, the other targets will be ranked lower. Yes. The gold-robed man replied respectfully. At the same time, order the undyings we've placed in Lasua world, instruct one of them to try. The gentle voice said, if we can kill Luo Feng, sacrificing a normal undying isn't much. However, our bug clan has too few people in the Golden Horn clan Lasua world. At most, we can only expose one undying, we can't sacrifice any more. If we're unable to kill him, then we'll wait for the next time. Yes. The gold-robed man replied respectfully. I'll immediately send the order to the Ganwu Universe country's members, and also to the Golden Horn clan's members. Go. The gentle voice said. The 3 golden-robed men bowed at the same time and left together. At the edge of the Ganwu Universe country's territory, Universe Secret Region Lasua World. Sacred City. In one of the secluded residences. Kill Luo Feng, no matter the cost? The Golden Horn undying clad in grey rock armor sat there, chanting within, no matter the cost, Hua. His eyes suddenly opened, a pair of blood-red pupils staring coldly ahead. Luo Feng? The Golden Horn undying muttered softly. Elder, elder. A Golden Horn youth rushed in from outside, shouting. I've just received news that human genius Luo Feng didn't even fight with Beiqiu. Instead, he immediately flew out of his residence and headed towards the Elder God Palace. This Luo Feng really doesn't have any guts at all. Meeting the powerful Beiqiu, he's so afraid he doesn't even dare to fight. The Golden Horn youth gritted his teeth. The gray-armored man ordered solemnly, you may leave. Yes, Elder. The Golden Horn youth replied respectfully. Elder God Palace? The gray-armored man became a blur and swiftly flew out of his residence, heading straight for the Elder God Palace. The human territory was vast, the bug race and humans, these 2 pinnacle races had been fighting for over 1 trillion years. The bug race had long planted spies in the various universe countries and starfields. The bug race's soul invasion and soul control abilities were simply too terrifying, even human undyings couldn't escape from their control. On the contrary, as the Golden Horn race was all gathered in Lasua world, the bug race normally didn't have a chance at all. Only when some Golden Horn warriors helped the humans in battle would they occasionally have a chance to swiftly invade another Golden Horn warrior's soul, and then let that Golden Horn warrior follow his race back. Only then would they be able to plant a chess piece. Lasua world was vast, and the bug race had too few spies, resulting in their lack of information. After Luo Feng caused such a huge commotion in the sacred city, only then did he attract the attention of one of the chess pieces to the sacred city, finally confirming Luo Feng's actions. The efficiency was extremely low. Luo Feng and his group landed at the foot of the Elder God Palace mountain range, after which they headed towards the palace. At this time, Luo Feng didn't realize at all that in such a secret place like the Golden Horn race, there would be assassinations from other races. After all, where the Golden Horn race lived, even many human undyings didn't know about it. Even many undyings didn't know that the human race had the Golden Horn race as a vassal race. If even the humans knew so little, it would definitely be extremely difficult for the other races to plant spies there. Even so, Luo Feng was still very cautious. After all, he was currently sent out as a supervisor envoy. Assassinations from other races were very common. This was also one of the reasons why Luo Feng didn't want to reveal too much of his strength. Defeating Bei Qiu had already caught the attention of the other races. The moment he defeated Bei Qiu, the other races would probably spare no expense to kill him. Elder Si Fan Chi, Luo Feng said, "You go ahead. If the elder is willing to meet me, I'll enter." "All right." Elder Si Fan Chi easily entered the palace. Luo Feng and his group stood outside the palace. The guards outside looked curiously at Luo Feng and his group. Obviously they rarely saw any humans. "Your Majesty Luo Feng, the elder wants to meet you, come in." Elder Si Fan Chi's voice resounded in Luo Feng's ears. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed, ordering, "The others stay here, Dylan follow me in." Luo Feng brought Dylan and walked straight into the main entrance of the palace. The guards had obviously received the order and didn't stop the two of them. The temperature of Lasheo world is extremely low. The temperature within the palace is even lower. Luo Feng walked within the God Palace. It felt like he was walking in a cold cave of Demon Note Mountain. Beside him were the guards, servants and even the elders and disciples of the palace. After walking for a while, he arrived at a quiet palace. This palace, the servants, disciples and guards all didn't dare approach. At the entrance of the palace stood two undyings, one male and one female. "Human Luo Feng, the elder is waiting for you in the palace," the male undying said. "HM." Luo Feng nodded, after which he brought Dylan and stepped through the door, entering the huge palace. The moment he entered the palace, it was like stepping into another space and time. Everything outside was isolated, leaving only this cold and strict palace. Below the palace stood 10 undyings, all of them looking rather respectful. At the top of the palace sat an old man wearing a senior elder crown, star robe, his chest exposed. Sitting there, the surrounding space and time revolved around him. His gaze was filled with boundless power, making one unable to resist. Human Luo Feng greets the Golden Horn Elder. Luo Feng bowed deeply, expressing his respect. Dylan followed beside him. To a mighty existence like the Universe Venerables, respect was a matter of course. P.S. First update has arrived. Chapter 674. Within the palace, the old man seated in the throne gazed down at Luo Feng, smiling. "It's been a long time since I've seen a young human. Your age has shocked me. I can't believe you were able to defeat that lowly child." "Elder, I only barely won," Luo Feng said respectfully. Within, he was shocked. His teacher Tru Yen had once told him that the absolute beings of the universe could tell with a glance how long a life form had lived for. Even undyings with eternal lifespans, those beings could tell with a glance how long they had lived for. This elder could probably tell that his lifespan was only about 300 years. Indeed, an elder stationed in the sacred city. Luo Feng was shocked within. The Golden Horn clan has many elders. To be able to be stationed in the sacred city, he's probably one of the strongest. "Have you studied the Saint Tablet?" The elder gazed below, smiling as he asked, almost like he was talking to a disciple. "I've studied it, I've benefited a lot from it. Thank you, elder, for giving me such a chance," Luo Feng said respectfully. A burst of hearty laughter echoed in the hall. The patriarch said with a bright smile, "Little fella, as far as I know, you and the great leader of the Golden Horn clan, Hiroto, are walking the same path. You are both spirit reader masters, and you both cultivate the law of space and the law of metal. The Saint Tablet's benefits to you are indeed greater." Luo Feng bowed slightly, obediently listening to the elder's words. "Do you still wish to study the Saint Tablet?" The elder looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng was slightly awkward. The Saint Tablet's benefits to studying the origin laws are indeed great. If I say I don't want to study it, I'd be lying to you. Haha, I'll give you a chance. Little punk, if you can unleash the Nanshin armament's 9th level before undying, you'll have the right to enter the tower again. The elder smiled. If you can successfully break through to undying, you can still enter the tower once. The time will be the same as this time. Luo Feng was shocked. Whether or not you can enter the tower will depend on your ability. The elder smiled. Thank you, elder. Luo Feng said respectfully. Haha, the elder laughed heartily. There are requirements for these two opportunities. If you don't have enough talent or ability, entering the Saint Tablet Tower would be an insult to Elder Hiroto. Luo Feng exclaimed within. This Golden Horn Elder was stationed in the sacred city. As a Universe Knight level being, he was actually so friendly to him, giving him the chance to study from the start, and even giving him the chance to choose any manual for free. Oh right. This Golden Horn Elder is probably like this because he saw that I was able to defeat this lowly being, hence he values me more. Luo Feng immediately understood. At the start, he gave me the chance to study, allowing me to choose any manual. But now, he's giving me 2 more chances to comprehend it. Although there are prerequisites, if I can't even meet these requirements, I'm afraid this Grand Elder won't care about me anymore. Founding members were the highest existences in the Golden Horn clan. Even if it was an Emperor-level Undying, these elders wouldn't care too much. So-called human geniuses, the elders similarly wouldn't care. However, Luo Feng's battle with the lowly being had caused this elder with detailed information on Luo Feng to swiftly deduce that Luo Feng's potential was shocking. Hence, his attitude was so friendly. Giving help in times of need was always better than adding icing on the cake. Luo Feng was currently a small figure. Since the elder was so polite, he was naturally grateful. If Luo Feng became an absolute being amongst humanity in the future, it would be much harder to make Luo Feng grateful. After greeting the elder, Luo Feng, Si Fan Chi and Dylan left the palace. The group of other Undyings left too. Human Luo Feng. A voice resounded. Luo Feng turned to look. The one who spoke was a man dressed in a loose long robe. His appearance was similar to the elder. You are? Luo Feng looked at the one before him. Your Majesty Luo Feng, this is the official level Undying Tu Kalo. Si Fan Chi smiled and introduced. Elder Tu Kalo is the elder's son, and also the only elder's son to become an Undying. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Tu Kalo, who was dressed in a loose robe, said indifferently, Human Luo Feng, the lowly being you defeated, and his brother Bei Chiu, they are both my disciples. Luo Feng thought within. Lowly being Bei Chiu's teacher? You defeated lowly being, I have nothing to say, I can only praise you. Tu Kalo stared at Luo Feng. However, my disciple Bei Chiu challenged you, I wonder why you didn't accept? My disciple has been waiting outside your residence for 3 months, yet he hasn't received any reply from you. Even if you rejected, you should at least give our Golden Horn clan some face. Luo Feng smiled. Elder Tu Kalo, so you were Bei Chiu's teacher. Honestly, it was already very hard for me to defeat him. I heard Elder Si Fan Chi say that Bei Chiu was more than 10 times stronger than his brother. I had no confidence at all. Naturally, I didn't accept the challenge and lost face. You admit defeat? Tu Kalo was shocked as he looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Yes, right now I am indeed far from being a match for Bei Chiu. I can only wait for my training to get stronger before accepting Bei Chiu's challenge. As for my actions, it's mainly because of the large numbers of youths from the Golden Horn clan challenging me. I was scared too. I hope Elder Tu Kalo can forgive me. Tu Kalo stared wide-eyed at Luo Feng. He was the only Undying among the elder's many children. Over the long years, the elder's other relatives had all died, leaving only Tu Kalo as a child. Even though Tu Kalo was only an official level god, due to his special identity, his position was extremely high. The matter with Bei Chiu and Bei Chiu made Tu Kalo very unhappy with Luo Feng. However, he didn't dare cause trouble in front of his father in the palace. However, the moment he left the palace, he wanted to find trouble with Luo Feng. However, Luo Feng admitted defeat. Luo Feng admitted defeat. He admitted that he was no match for Bei Chiu. What to do? You. Tu Calo blinked. When my strength increases and I have the confidence to fight Baichio, the moment I come to the Golden Horn clan, I will definitely fight Baichio. As for now, my strength is simply not enough. Luo Feng bowed. Elder Tu Calo, if there's nothing else, I'll be leaving. Tu Calo could only nod. Luo Feng politely brought Dylan and Elder Si Fan Chi away. Tu Calo stood there for a long time, speechless. Times as Luo Feng walked within the palace, he met Bai Qiu and Bai Jiang, who were returning to the palace. Human Luo Feng, please accept my challenge. Bai Qiu blocked Luo Feng's path. I still have things to do, please move aside. Luo Feng said. Dylan beside immediately released his undying energy. The powerful undying energy swept Bai Qiu to the side like dust, while Luo Feng, Dylan and Elder Si Fan Chi swiftly left. You! Bai Qiu was furious. Luo Feng walked within the winding and serene palace, thinking within, since I've studied the Saint Tablet and acquired the Evolved God level 36, then I should leave. At most, I'll make a trip to the Pagoda Department and then return to the Milky Way galaxy. After this, I'll first exchange for the 10,000 soul control technique. That technique is ridiculously expensive, however, to control the Bug Clan Mother Nest, it's worth it. After training on Earth for a period of time, after I've completely controlled the Bug Clan Mother Nest, I can make a trip to Primal Chaos City and train there for a period of time. I have a few chances to study the 9 Universe Tablet, I can use them too. The core members of the Virtual Universe Company all had the right to enter Primal Chaos City. When they first joined, Universe level, they had the chance to train in Primal Chaos City for 30 years for free. This was also the first time Luo Feng and the others went to Primal Chaos City. When they were Domain Lord level, they had the chance to train in Primal Chaos City for 300 years for free. When they were Sector Lord level, they had the chance to train in Primal Chaos City for 3,000 years for free. This was all free. This was the privilege of a core disciple. Also, after entering Primal Chaos City, the Domain Lord level could train for 300 years for free. However, Luo Feng could train for 500 years, 1,000 years, the only price was the extra time would require points to exchange. The longer he trained, the more points he would spend. If he had enough points, he could even train for 10,000 years, 100,000 years in Primal Chaos City. The moment he used up all his points, Primal Chaos City would force him to leave. While Luo Feng was thinking about the future, he brought Dylan and Elder Si Fan Chi out of the palace. Your Majesty! The 5 sector lords and Kashna all welcomed him. Let's go, Luo Feng ordered. Human Your Majesty Luo Feng, Human Your Majesty Luo Feng. A very passionate voice resounded. Luo Feng raised his head and looked, only to see a blurry silhouette swiftly rushing over. After which, it condensed into a man dressed in grey rock armor about 10 m away from Luo Feng. His eyes were like a pair of red gems. These red pupils looked at Luo Feng and smiled. My name is Ku Bu. Ku Bu. Elder Si Fan Chi shouted shocked. Elder Si Fan Chi. The grey-armored man bowed to show respect. Luo Feng looked suspiciously at Si Fan Chi. Si Fan Chi smiled. Your Majesty Luo Feng, this is Elder Ku Bu, an undying from the Toyin tribe. He's participated in numerous battles between humans and other races. He has many human friends. Luo Feng looked at this undying called Ku Bu. During this period of time in the sacred city, I've heard about Your Majesty Luo Feng's matters. I didn't dare disturb you, I reckon you'll be leaving soon, hence I've come to send you off. The grey-armored man smiled. To be able to see a human in my home, it's really a joyous matter. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. I wonder where Your Majesty has been since coming to our Lasheo world? The grey-armored man smiled. I've been in the sacred city, and the Pagoda Department. Luo Feng said. Ah. Elder Ku Bu said, Your Majesty Luo Feng, our Golden Horn Race's home Lasheo world has an incredibly long history. There are many miraculous places, and many places that are extremely beneficial for training. You've actually never been there before?